Hello and welcome to Season 1, Session 6 of Blood on the Tamesis, a Vampire the Masquerade Chronicle set in Oxfordshire, England, 2001. And with me tonight we have...
Phil Bailey playing Sailor Shaw of Clan Bruyere.
Bex playing Velvet Riley of Clan Ventry.
Lane playing Joanne Salt of Clan Torridor.
And Carlos playing Theodore Penn of Clan Ventru.
So normally we would have a recap from the players at this point, but lucky you've just had one from me. And one of the things that we're planning to kind of make a thing of is every 5 episodes or so doing a recap video so that people who've maybe missed episodes or have just forgotten what's happened get a refresher, and people who want to join us live get the chance to do that without having to have watched everything else if they're playing catch up. So we are going to pick up this episode roughly where we left off, and that is with Joanne. So just in case, because you haven't seen the video just like everyone else has, Joanne had done a deal with Barnaby, always a sensible move, and he had taken her to a place where you had met Sally, and it was quite a run-down house, not too far from where Sir Holder's farmstead is. So you're right on the south end, out of town, in a little village there. And in this very run-down, sort of quite grim house, you were taken down into a cellar. And it is dark down there. And when Sally spoke to someone in the dark, their response was to clap 3 times. And that is where we finish the session. So what will happen is, after the clap has kind of echoed in the space, and I should say, not only is it dark, but it smells of old blood down here. Remind me, what hunger are you on?
2.
So it's not like you can't control yourself, but you can't not be aware of it. You know, you're just aware of that kind of emptiness within you that's kind of asking to be filled. And it's just that constant little irritation that it's there. So apart from you, Joanne, by the way, at this point, everybody else recovers any superficial willpower from last session as normal. You will hear the click of a light bulb, or of a light switch even, and a weak yellow light will illuminate from a single bulb kind of hanging from the ceiling. And what you will see is, sitting in a fairly bare space, just with a few boxes down here. Everything, by the way, looks kind of dusty, and the cardboard that you can see looks like it's starting to rot slightly. You will probably, because Joanne will notice this kind of thing, you suspect there might be access for rats down here, because some of the boxes look like they've been gnawed. Suffice to say, she doesn't like the ambience, in case you had any doubts. But of course, it's not just the rats that catch her attention. There is someone that she recognises instantly. It is a man who's white, and he looks to be... It was hard to pin his age exactly because of the state that he's in, but you would guess him to be somewhere in his maybe late 20s, early 30s, maybe. It's hard to discern the colour of his hair because it's filthy and caked in dirt, and you think maybe blood. He's wearing the remains of what was probably once quite a smart shirt that again is stained and torn. He only has one shoe on, and the foot that does not have a shoe, the sock, looks very miserable and also filthy and encrusted. He has blood around his mouth and also encrusted in his fingernails, and he is watching. He's not paying attention to you at the moment. He is watching Sally. Nevertheless, Joanne immediately realises that this is the man who attacked her and effectively murdered her what feels like a lifetime ago, because it was. Is there anything she's going to do immediately?
Just look over him, take him in, just go... Just judge him for how she seems to have come out on top.
Yeah, he looks kind of pathetic. Like I say, he's sat on the floor and you're standing, so there's this feeling of strength, of position. He doesn't seem restrained in any way. When you look at him and start shaking your head, Sally kind of clicks her fingers and gestures towards you, and you see his eyes move from her to you very slowly. I know you.
It's funny, isn't it? Now I've got you here, I don't even know what I want to say.
Sally says, say whatever you want. He will listen.
I always wanted to be a doctor, you know? To help others, to heal them. I passed medical school at 18. Performed my first shift as a GP at 22 and performed my first surgery at 25. That's all I wanted to do. To help, to heal, to do some good in the world, to settle down with the woman I loved and die knowing I'd made some good in the world. And then you took that all away from me. So I'm going to take everything and more from you. I'm going to take your name. I'm going to take your standing. I'm going to take everything. And then when I'm done, I'm going to kill you. And then when I'm done with you, I'm going to get to work on the others as well. We are all a waterfall. Whether we cascade with others or drop alone. We're all on the same path. To the end. Because everything and everyone ends. And when you and I both do, I'll see you in hell. We can continue this there.
You see him twitch, almost like he's going to answer. There's like some weird flicker of emotion, like a sort of, and you see his expression shift almost to one of disdain for a moment, and then it's just like it doesn't quite make it there. Like the expression goes to form and then falls off his face, and he just stares at you and just nods in a kind of accepting manner.
Look at my face.
He does.
This is the face of the woman that's going to kill you. I want you to see this face. In every dark corner, in every reflection, in every puddle, and in every broken mirror. And look, watch for the shadows. Because one day, I'm going to be in one of them. And then there won't be anything left of you. I'm going to turn around and probably walk out at that point.
So
I've said my piece.
You walk back up the creaking stairs. You're probably dimly aware of Sally saying something to him, but she's saying it in quite a quiet voice. Are you trying to listen, or are you just, you're done, you're going?
I've said my piece, I'm done.
So Barnaby has not come down with you. He is up in the hallway, and when you get there, he's just leaning against the wall. And he says, done? So
I needed that.
Good. I don't know what you did. I don't want to know. And he turns and you start to leave. You get to the door when you hear sort of the sound of Sally kind of hurrying to catch you up. And she says to Barnaby, go away a minute. And he shrugs. It's fine. And he goes out. And then she says to you, Joanne.
Yes.
I like you.
Thank you.
I'm going to tell them that I like you.
That would be incredibly appreciated. Thank you.
Oxford needs more people like you, in my opinion. And then she turns away as if the conversation is over and goes off back. Looks like she's heading back down to where you came. So you leave.
Yep.
And a little bit of time is going to pass potentially. So I should just say, for anyone who's wondering, this was all taking place on Wednesday the 31st of October. You will hear that the next court is on Wednesday the 28th of November. And obviously you all have been working hard to set up and negotiate between Sally and Rupert to try and bring things to a peaceful conclusion. And as I said, I think last session, providing no one intervenes or nothing goes terribly wrong, things are looking promising. So that's going to take up a significant part of your character's time of organising that, but it will not take up all of your character's time. So, are there any things that your characters wish to do kind of urgently before the next court, or that you just want the audience and me to know that you are doing in the background? And I will just give you a sense of what happens over that month.
Preparing for, asking Isabel about maybe helping me bump into Sir William at court so I can discuss business with him.
She will agree to do that.
And make sure that Miyuki finds an appropriate tea set.
Yes, she will get to work getting a tea set and assumedly arranging a place for this to happen.
Yes, whatever she finds, I will trust her judgment. He knows this better than I do.
Understood. Joanne?
How long is it until the Thin Bloods have to...
So you know the Thin Bloods deadline is the 18th of November. So if there's anything you want to do regarding them, then let me know in this time passes.
Let other people say that before.
Heal up my ag damage.
Yes. So can you just make a quick... If you make like if you roll just 4 red dice, and if they all fail, then we'll talk about what that might mean.
They do not all fail.
That's fine. So over the course of time, you can heal it, and because it was only 1 point, wasn't it?
1 left, yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. So you are fully healed over this period of time.
Oh, we're gonna go the full month?
Well, we're going to go to the 18th or the court. To the next court.
Yeah, I have 1 aggravated that I would like to heal.
So same rule for you. If you want to heal an aggravated point, you can wait. You can heal aggravated points, but obviously if you fail all and you suddenly get a hunger 5, we'll zoom in on that scene. But otherwise, we'll assume you're taking your time, you're setting yourself up, you've got plenty of days.
One thing Silas planning to do is helping Joanne healing because Dr.
Yeah, at some point she's going to come to Silas and ask for the help.
So it is worth saying that you will start getting pressure from your sire, who is going to moan that he is getting pressure to check that you're healed.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So again, same rules for you. Let's say, how are you? If Silas is helping you, how are you intending to feed? Are you doing your normal method? Or are you doing something different? I'm assuming you're doing your normal method.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Are you involving Silas in your normal method?
No.
Okay. So you're not taking Silas's help, effectively. That's what I'm clarifying.
I think,
I know, these difficult questions.
Yeah.
While you're thinking, Velvet, it's just worth saying that there will be some time over this month where, of course, you will slip out to your love nest to have these kind of meetings with Adam.
Put all this money and willpower into it for nothing.
Well, precisely.
Yeah.
And that each time, of course, they're kind of like stolen moments where, you know, the two of you manage to get a bit where you think you can slip out without being noticed, and where these times align. And perhaps because of that, they are all the more thrilling, because you can't have it whenever you want. You have to kind of fight for it, and you get these little stolen moments together, and then you have to part company and go back to your boring life.
My stupid wife.
Your stupid family.
Poor woman.
Can you make for me an intelligence plus crafts roll? If you have the specialty of painting or any kind of art, you can add that.
Nope.
So you start with your hunger dice pool.
That's my whole pool.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Wish I was clever.
Okay.
Pay me like one of your French girls?
I want 1 success.
Okay. So one of the nights when you come home, there will be a picture that has been left like on the fridge because you'll come home and it's quite late.
Oh yeah, this is at my actual house.
This is at your actual house. This is one of the rare times over the month that you come home to your family home.
Okay.
Jessica will already have gone to bed.
Of course.
However, you will find a picture, and it takes you a little while because there's like green squiggles and there are blobs and there are things. But after a little bit of looking at it, you think what it is. It's you see two stick figures you recognise, one smaller and one bigger. You reckon that's definitely you and Freddie.
Yeah.
But what you realise is it's a picture of the park at night time. And written in not very small letters is to Daddy. Shh.
What time is it now?
It's
The middle of the night.
it's probably like 1 a.m.
Okay. I feel like Freddie needs to go to the park because I need to convince myself that I'm not a terrible parent.
Excellent. Can I ask you just to make for me a quick, let's say, dexterity and subterfuge roll? This is for you to get Freddie out of the house without him making any noise that will wake up Jessica, and getting back will be easy. He'll be asleep.
5 successes.
Like a practiced thief.
Like somebody who lies.
So one of the
Spirit your son away from his bed.
One of the great things is, of course, is that when you go to Freddie and you wake him and he's like, "What's going on, Daddy?" And you're like, "We're going to go out. This is brilliant. He is very excited. And of course, it's a game. So you creep together and it's fun, right? And you wink at each other and you make your way out. You have a magical night. You have a magical 30, 40 minutes before he falls asleep in the park. But nevertheless, it's a great time. You sneak him back in. Jessica has no clue anything has happened. All right, so let me just come back to Joanne. What are you doing about feeding?
Yeah, usual method, I think.
Okay. In that case, you can just make your roll for healing the ag. You don't need to roll the healing, the hunting at this point.
4, yeah.
Yeah, just if they all come up terrible, I want to know.
No.
Okay, you can heal 1 point of aggravated damage.
Yay.
Do you want to repeat that process? I'm assuming you're still on something like 3 aggravated, so you are currently unfit for human consumption. I want you to get down to at least 2 before you can even consider wandering about without being a massive health
Yeah,
razor.
let's go for one more.
Masquerade breach, I should say.
Ooh. No.
2.
Actually, she has to.
Yeah.
That's fine.
You were just
I just
playing
wanted
the game.
I just wanted to make it
Right.
spicy.
Literally just...
Okay. Are you risking any more for any more?
Nope.
Okay. So it's worth saying that if you're going back to work at the hospital, there is still a risk that medical professionals will tell there is something really weird about the fact you're capable of walking. However, average people on the street will no longer notice unless they inspect you in some kind of meaningful manner. All right, Silas.
I will heal my superficial.
Yeah, done. You don't have to roll for that.
Yeah. And having thought that maybe Sir
Gansuk?
Gansuk, that's one. Let's just give G should be an S.
What about Sir Gansuk?
So maybe interested in having that experience again.
Are you offering yourself for tribute a second time? Is that what you're telling me?
I will certainly do that, but also be having quiet words with Finn about, of course, powers of brew out blood being at supernatural speed, and maybe, if possible, try and develop that a little bit to give me a bit more of an edge, because that hurt.
So you're basically do you want to become faster before you offer yourself up, or are you doing both at the same time? Or are you trying to do that as part of the thing? Like maybe if I put myself in serious harm, I will get supernaturally faster. Is that your logic?
I think the slight priority is to get a little faster, but of course knowing that maybe as well so Gansuk potentially liking and of course putting myself towards court may.
So Finn will suggest maybe that you talk to Sir Gansuk in court.
Yeah.
And he will start trying to teach you ways to channel the blood.
Yep.
So, yes, Velvet.
I also had, I think, I don't know whether you're going to come to this, but I
Okay.
also had to meet people that Wallace wanted me to meet.
No, that'll happen. Don't worry. Don't worry. When that happens, Wallace will arrive.
Yay!
Yeah.
Yeah,
Joanne.
Want to go to Thin Bloods before they.
Okay, so before the deadline, how are you? Are you trying to meet them in person?
Yes.
Okay. So are you selecting a meeting place yourself? Where would you like them to meet you?
I think. Actually, I think it'd be easier on their terms because they'd know where they can be and be under the radar, so to speak.
All right, so they'll call. You know, there was the address you went to where grisly things happened.
Yeah.
You will go back there. So again,
I wasn't seen there shooting anyone, so.
when you go there, the thing that will strike Joanne is that this looks like a family home. However, there is no evidence of a family being here when you arrive. But it nevertheless looks like a lived-in home, and it looks very normal to her eyes, actually. That kind of, you know, in a kind of TV show where, you know, that there are like family pictures up and everything seems fairly clean, but there's a kind of appropriate level of mess, as if there are people there and children there and things. It's weirdly pleasant and normal. Or like already it's quite jarring when you come into this space. However, it's not unpleasant to be in. And you will see Norman is there. Norman, of course, he actually doesn't look radically different from the last time you saw him. He's still fairly small and scrawny and pale. He is still a little whiffy. And he still looks very nervous.
Yeah.
And he will say, hi.
I.
Is it just you?
Yes.
He is kind of glancing over your shoulder. He looks relieved when you say yes.
I just wanted to say, how confident are you in presenting a tribute?
Well, I mean, we've got a plan. We just have to hope it works.
I have an alternative.
Yeah?
And what I want to do is I want to temporarily reduce my background dots in resources to 1.
Okay.
And just give them a chunk of money and say, if you're not confident and you think this is going to go badly, get out of the city.
He looks at the money. He looks at you. And he says, I don't take this the wrong way, but that's something that one of you would say. It's not something one of us would say. See, I know things are bad here in Oxford, but in London, they don't even give us a chance. If they find us, they kill us on sight. So, when you're like me, there's no point running. We've already run to the best place we can find. So, I probably shouldn't take this. And he will.
I'm just going to leave it on the table and say,
Okay.
It's all I can do for you at this point. I don't want you to suffer for the mistakes of the people that did this. Like I said back then, I didn't have a choice in this either.
All right, he says, and the money is scooped away. We appreciate this.
I'm going to give them my other phone number.
Yeah, okay.
If you need me. None of the others have this number.
Why are you doing this? I mean, really, what do you care what happens to us?
Like I said, I think you and I are more alike than you think. I didn't have a choice either, but I got some bastardized version of lucky. You didn't. And in some way I can help.
All right. Thank you. Seriously, thank you.
Please stay safe.
So you leave them with the money and they go off to do their thing. So, anyone have missed anything any more on the run up to court? Are either of last session, it was obviously a few weeks ago, Silas gave you some information
Yes, yeah.
about this fellow Eric,
Yes.
who he's got some beef with,
Yes.
and he also gave you the name of Janie Harris. This is specifically to Velvet and Joanne, I believe. So,
I actually would have provided it to all three.
oh, okay. So you all have that information. Is anybody doing anything with that information I should be aware of over this time?
Currently working at the hospital, so I can't check medical records
Sure.
or anything, so I can't do anything yet.
Okay, so you're not acting up. That's fine.
Yes, I'm hiring PI, the same guy who I hired before,
Okay.
to look into both of these people,
Okay.
provide me with more information with which to make a decision about how to proceed.
So just so as you know, I believe you currently have some resources committed to a project, and you also have
Call it that.
and some resources committed to and also some other resources committed to your love nest. I could be so you
Well,
do
no, so the politics project thing has started off. No, this is the
Sally and Rupert.
thing. Yes, fine. Yeah.
so you do have a little bit of resources left, but it will leave Velvet somewhat strapped.
I don't like the idea of that.
So it's up to you. If you wish to, you can do it, but
I
you
have to
will.
drive myself around.
You might have to drive
I
yourself.
will do it because I need to sort out this stupid being accepted thing.
Okay.
So I will do that.
So a private investigator will begin investigating these people
fine.
for you.
Yeah.
I will give that name to Vicky. I will take Miyuki to
Oh,
dinner, and I'll go cook with Vicky.
okay.
Just whatever's on the grapevine. Not a favor. It's like
So
if
you
know
go
something-
you go to quite a nice one of those kind of local places for local people, which does a lot of kind of traditional dishes predominantly. But one of the things that marks it out that's different is the kitchens are visible to the public. So the cook, such as she is, can chat to the customers if they can sit kind of at a bar and chat with her. But normally, people obviously are at their tables, but they can see her doing her work, and then things are done. And like always, when you go there, it is a busy place, and it feels like it's the kind of place where the customers kind of know each other, and it's weirdly feels a bit like a pub has had a child with a restaurant, and this is the result. So when you go there and you see Vicky, so she's a woman who looks to be somewhere in her early 40s, you would guess, and she has an air of she's doing things and occasionally like clicking her fingers at people and stuff's happening, but she's also kind of smiling at customers when she knows them, and everyone seems to know her. So again, she's like a little bit of a cross between a kind of a head chef and the owner of the restaurant, which is sort of true. That's kind of what she is. So when you go there, she say her hair is all kind of tied back. She's wearing quite a nice dress with an apron over the top. And she has quite sharp, the kind of knife that you'd see in kind of slasher flicks, which she's using to both direct people but also to cut things up. And so when you come in, she'll say, Theodore.
How are you, Vicky?
Same as always. Are you working or eating?
I'm working. She's eating.
She'll beckon you round and she'll indicate with her knife to another apron.
Yep. And I just gesture to Miyuki so she can sit right there in the bar. I walk around, take off my jacket, put on the apron, and see whatever is on the tally of the orders and start cooking with her.
So you begin to cook together. Miyuki perches herself very elegantly on the bar, and you realise she looks about half the size of nearly everybody else in this place. And so whilst you're both chopping and cooking, you start up kind of an easy conversation. And she'll be saying, is everything well with you? Anything causing you difficulty at the moment?
No, not as such. Nothing that I cannot take care of. Quick question. Have you heard, and I mentioned the name, not Eric, but the girl...
Yep, Janie Harris.
Janie Harris. Like, Janie Harris, anything related to that? I've heard that there's...
Can't say I have. What's up with her?
Sorry?
Can't say I have. What's up with her?
Showbiz, things like that. Some rumors.
We don't get many of them around here.
Yeah. But I think she left it. Someone tried to get handsy with her, if you know what I mean.
The knife pauses just for a moment. Oh, really? And then carries on.
And I'm trying to sort some things straight.
Understood.
Just ask around.
I'll see if anyone's heard anything.
Yeah. And how are things with you?
Oh, not bad.
How's your husband? Working?
She nods. She says, yeah, working too much. He's not eating well. I keep telling him.
No. That won't do. I think I need to have a word with him. I mean, I know what it is to work a lot. But a man has to eat.
Well, maybe he'll listen to you.
Hopefully. If not, we consider the really dangerous person. And I nod at Miyuki.
Miyuki nods back. But you don't think she knows quite what you're talking about.
No. So, and I chat with the staff, like Kieran, the kids, like, hey, did you take the girl out? Did you do as I told? Did you buy her chocolate?
You get a sort of family update of their comings and goings. There is a fair bit of drama in this family and business, and everybody seems to know everyone. And oh, did you hear so and so got ill? And oh, did you hear so and so won some money on the bets and on the horses? And it goes back and forth like that. And you spend a kind of pleasant time.
Yeah, and then at the end, I just present Miyuki with the food so she can eat while we finish cooking, and then when she's done, we leave.
Perfect. Any more for any more? In that, sorry, I didn't give you a chance there, did I, Silas? I was like, anything? No, good.
Just thinking. On set, does William from the writers' room ever call me, or for on sets?
Does William on the writers' room collar you for anything? He doesn't. Are you expecting him to?
It's the thing. I know he'll often chat. So it's a. Is he coming? Is he not?
Oh well, he'll certainly chat to you. There's just not. He hasn't got like a thing for you. But yeah. Oh yeah. He'll see you. He'll talk about this or that. Are you trying to get anything out of him, or are you just having social?
I'll have a little chat and see what he knows about that. See what he knows about that. His input.
He says, well, all I know is one day she was on the project and the next day she wasn't. He says, so if I were you, I wouldn't bring her up. I mean, like, that'd be death for me. No one misses a writer. If something happens.
Thank you.
He shrugs. It's all right. So time will... Oh, yes.
Sorry, one last
No,
thing.
shoot, Velvet.
I read philosophy.
Yes, you begin reading things.
Yes. Nicomachean and Ethics by Aristotle.
Yes.
So that's what I'm reading also. I was going to say bedtime reading. That's not what I'm doing at bedtime. I read it at some point during the evening.
It's certainly not wink, wink, nudge, nudge. But yes, okay, cool. So we kind of pass across the month. The 18th, of course, will come and go, Joanne, and you will get a call that tells you that they have been accepted, or at least allowed to remain within Oxfordshire. Velvet, you will get an update from your private investigator saying they have found something and they will be in touch soon.
Great.
And when the court is getting close, you, of course, over this time have been spending maybe more time than you want to with Rupert and Sally, and but things seem to be going smoothly. They seem to be reaching an accord. They're both saying that they are going to they're going to speak to the boonkeeper and let the herald know that there's no need for things to be formally followed. And as far as you can tell, it's all going to be fine.
I've told these guys that the PI found something. I don't know what it is yet, but I'll tell them there's information that we've discovered.
Okay. Just see. All right. So let us get to.
Yeah, as well as I will have informed them about Seikan-suk and that whole.
What do you? Okay, that's relevant. So what do you? Let's say at some point the Coterie get together. What does Silas say?
The test that the task that was set before me by the prince was to meet with a Sir Gansuk of Clan Malkavian to be temporary target practice for javelin throwing.
I'm cleaning my gun when he says that. He's like, Oh,
Say
so
what now?
that's one of the things you do?
Well, that happened. I did not expect that. I got away pretty lucky, I think.
Well, you're here, right?
Yeah.
So that's got to be pretty lucky.
Yeah, there's no javelin through your throat, so I assume you got lucky.
Yeah, he's a pretty mean shot. But
So you didn't get lucky. You
he
succeeded.
he did get me on the side as one, but
How many goddamn things did he throw at you?
honestly, I lost count. I was too worried about the next one coming. I wasn't counting.
Now, can you run that by me again, son? You offered
As I presented myself to the prince, I was requested to do a task, which of course I did not know about at the time.
Oh.
And I was contacted by the messenger to meet and go to the north to meet Sergey Suk, and I did not know until arrival that was going to happen.
Okay, so probably there's a lesson there for all of us.
Am I the only person who thinks this is goddamn crazy?
Yes.
I mean,
you're
literally,
not.
the whole entire place that we are in here is crazy.
Well, you have to
you can say
understand,
that.
probably Sergey Suk comes from a time in which spear fighting was venerated.
But
Elders.
that ain't this time, right?
No, but elders tend to keep to their ways.
Again, and his horse, I believe, bonded to him. He has red eyes, so that is clearly not natural.
Jesus Christ.
This just sounds like something
This
off
sounds
of a
like
film set.
right. It sounds like the
know.
sort of thing you should just run a million miles in the other direction from.
Yeah, I know, but
May I suggest you not offering your
yeah,
help for tasks willy-nilly?
I
I would assume, although I am afraid I know the answer already, that you did not get any boons or anything in return for this.
no. This was a direct request from the prince, so
That's something that you do not turn
Yeah.
you do not turn down. I agree with you. If it's not a request, ask for something in return. Sergey Suk seems to be influential, to say the least.
thank you.
He presumably has someone before you that he threw spears at, so he could always revert back to that.
From what I was led to believe, he hadn't done it in quite a while, so
Well, I would
Well,
imagine
then-
not a lot of people offer to be
Or in a
moving target
position,
prices.
right? Exactly.
Okay, so court is coming. We are moving towards Wednesday the 28th, and on the night of court, a number of things are going to happen before court itself. So the first one is that Isabel is going to be taking you to court, and when she picks you up, she says she'll pick you up early. By the way, she will inform you. Well, in fact, what she'll say is this: we have something of an honour tonight. We will be going to meet with Sir Enolf, and he will then be coming to court with us. It's my intention to introduce you away from the eyes of the others.
Thank you.
It goes without saying, of course, that you will be on your best behaviour.
Absolutely.
And
What do we owe this honor?
Sir Enolf and I have a good relationship, and I'm intending to make it so that you will also have a good relationship with him.
Much appreciated.
So she'll take you to a place that, she lives in a very nice house. So Enolf lives out of town, and he lives in what can only be described as a mansion. And it has its own grounds and garden, and is all kind of fenced and gated off, and you kind of go through a gate, kind of up the long walk to the place itself. Very well cared for gardens, with their own fountain, with their own features. Grand hallways that you're taken inside. The thing that will strike Theodore, perhaps, as you're moving through this space, is firstly it is opulent. Secondly, it is very well cared for. There are obviously people that look after this, and it's quite a job to do so. But it feels oddly empty. Feels like the space is too big. That you don't encounter very many people here, and yet it could easily contain many, many people.
On the way there, I ask Isabel for basic etiquette pointers. What does he like? What does he dislike? Big do's and don'ts, but also a little bit of context. Not every elder is the same, so...
She will say, Senolf is a reasonable man. He, of course, likes to be treated respectfully, but he will not expect you to be silent, or in this setting to be able to speak freely. He is a cultured man, but also a man who has seen war. And so I feel you have something in common.
Has he adapted well to modern times? The proper greeting would be a bow, a handshake, just polite distance.
I think a polite distance. Should he offer his hand, of course, that is different, but I would not presume at this time. It is worth saying that he has, well, as all do, strong feelings about the Sabbat, but his especially so.
Understood.
So, you're in this place. Your footsteps echo in the hallways. The room in which you meet him looks like a gallery of sorts. And there are paintings up on the walls of varying sizes. There's a couple of really grand ones, quite a lot of regular portraits, not that much that is small, adorning the walls. Some of them are hung quite high. They'd be hard to kind of look at. The room itself is large, and so it does feel like being in an art gallery in a sense, but also it feels weirdly, despite the fullness of decoration on the walls themselves, still somehow an empty space. You'll see a man, he looks to be maybe in his early 20s, with shoulder length blonde hair, which is currently loose, and quite a neatly trimmed blonde beard, and which is a full beard. And he is standing looking at one of the paintings. You're used to dealing with old vampires, but even you, when you see him, have that moment of, wow, it's like looking at a corpse. I mean, more than Meliora even, there is something slightly sunken and lifeless about him. Like, it's not just that he's a corpse, but he doesn't even quite feel recent in terms of his death to you. It doesn't feel natural or normal. When your natural impulse is to kind of take a step back rather than forward. He is very, very smartly dressed. He is not carrying any kind of weapon on his person, but he is wearing quite a smart, old-fashioned suit, but not hundreds of years old-fashioned, just old-fashioned. Isabel will say, we'll kind of take you halfway across the room, but then we'll just say to you, one moment. And she will approach, and she curtsies to him. You will see, because you're kind of standing watching, that he seems to be admiring a particular painting at the moment. Is your attention on him, the painting, Isabel?
I want to see what he's looking at, but also I want to see the relationship.
Okay.
Between the two of them.
So, from your kind of glance at the painting, what it looks like, it looks like it's a painting set in the daytime, outdoors. There is a grassy hill, and in the background, can you make a academics intelligence for me? Or to put it a different way, what's your academics pool intelligence?
So, no, even if it's
okay.
Summer afternoon in the Grand Jet, I'm not gonna.
So there is obviously some kind of settlement in the background of the picture, but you don't recognise where it is precisely. However, there are 4 figures on this hill, and they look like they are looking towards the settlement. One of the figures, and the other thing to mention is they are all wearing armour of some kind. One of the figures is wearing some kind of long leather coat and has a helmet tucked kind of under his arm. One of the 2 of the figures are wearing what look like full face helms, but again, their backs are to the picture. But with one of them, what you can see is his shield. And his shield looks like it's been painted black and has 3 golden eagles. One kind of lower down and 2 kind of one in each corner of the shield, higher up.
So it's like a kite shield.
Yes, like a kite shield shape, exactly. There's a figure... The figure that kind of catches your attention, though, is one of these, you presume, knights, warriors, is not looking towards the settlement. He's turning and looking towards the one whose crest you can see. And there is a sort of slightly playful smile on his face. The sunlight is drawn such that it kind of catches this figure's in particular, but also glints off the armour of the other knights. And clearly, either this man was beautiful, or the artist did not want to displease the subject of the painting. But in either case, it's very idealised. All of these figures look kind of regal, and they look impressive. So, when Isabel arrives, she waits politely for a moment, and then as he turns, she curtsies. And you see that kind of deadness of his face light up slightly. Indeed, a little colour returns to his cheeks, and he kind of goes, "Ah, you have returned." And she says, "Yes, I've missed you." And he takes her hands. Says, "It is good to see you." She says, "You look troubled." Things are not well here in Oxfordshire. I find myself wondering, where did he go? Why did he go? I'm sorry, I don't know why. But I didn't go. He turns and smiles and says, "No, you came back to me. You always come back. Always. It is good for us to be here, like this. Alone." And he looks like he's about to say something else, and she says, "But just, we are..."
Yes, I make myself known.
You clear your throat and...
Politely so.
He turns to look at you, and that softness, like some of that corpseness, seems to almost return. He's still got blood in his cheeks, but that animate thing seems like... He says, "Who's this?" She says, "Setanov, might I present my child?"
And I walk towards him.
He examines you.
Theodore Penn, at your services, Setanov.
She says, "Does he not remind you of Henry?" "Henry?" "Yes. Henry, you remember, you told me about him." And she gestures towards one of the paintings. And he looks. He says, "Ah, yes. Henry, yes. He was a good man. Loyal. Did not run from a fight." She says, "Yes, quite so. Theodore has also faced many perils and never run from them." "He has? What perils have you faced?"
Well, I think as kind, there is no worse peril than facing a kindred.
You faced kindred as a man?
Yes. My domitor in Japan, Amago Takahisa Dono, he was having difficulties with the Sabbat War. So I was one of his lieutenants.
The war, yes. Yes, I remember now. Isabel, he is yours. Jesus, yes. Another shadow. Is but one like me. One like me. And then he softens a little. You promise me. Of course, on my life. So be it. So you're faced Sabbat, then?
Indeed. Mostly people that were turned in mass embraces, barely a few days or weeks old, usually day hunting. As kind, I needed the sun as my ally. But I did have, on one occasion, a run-in that did not go quite well for me.
They are disgusting creatures. Have you... Do you ride?
I have done in occasion with Takahisa Dono. I must admit it's not one of my strengths, but...
You must learn. So it's little better than running down a Sabbat. He smiles. And he'll gesture for you to follow, and he'll walk
Absolutely.
across the space for a bit. And again, you hear your footsteps kind of echoing, and his heels particularly clicking. And you come to what looks like a tattered old banner, which is kind of propped in a corner, but in such a way that it looks like it can be displayed. So the symbol of the banner looks, for those kind of listening along at home, looks very much like the logo of the stream. Okay. However, it is set within a much larger kind of scene, so it's only the centre that is the shield, but there are things around it, kind of beasts rearing up.
From what I've seen in other paintings or tapestries, sort of like the base heraldry, because that's something that Theodore would pay attention, any sort of like house markings or clan markings or things like that. Anything that strikes a resemblance with anything else that I've seen.
You will have, because he did this research when he came, you will think this looks like some kind of twist on the heraldry of Oxfordshire itself.
Okay.
What you'll also notice is that the shaft, which is kind of supporting the fabric, ends in a sharp point.
Okay.
And there is old bloodstains kind of soaked into the wood. It's also big. Like this band, I should say, I should point out, it's about 7 foot tall, this
and
shaft of wood.
Complete, apparently. No, yeah, but again, Japanese culture has back banners, long standards, and so
this is not
the army's banner is.
This is not a surprise to you, but he says, "This foot has pierced the heart of Sabbat warriors."
I approach slightly to contemplate it. Sort of appreciate the meaning it has for him.
You spend some time in quiet contemplation. Can you make for me, let's say, a composure and any, we could say, maybe you could make your tea ceremony specialty here.
Okay.
Apply, because this is about contemplation and calmness. Just give me a quick
tranquility and harmony.
Yeah, just give me a quick roll. You can put your skill dice in as well as just the specialty if you haven't already.
Yeah.
Yep, go for it.
That is willpower. 3 successes.
It feels like this is the right call. You do it naturally because it's what Theodore would do, but you realise he's also contemplating it, and it feels like you have a kind of shared moment together where you are both kind of in each other's company, but also in your own space. And briefly, it does not feel as empty a space. It feels like you are just here in that space, and it feels very calm. And in the end, it is Isabel that breaks the moment and says, "I'm so sorry, but we should not keep the prince waiting." And Ralph nods. And you leave together.
Yeah, I allow them to walk.
They do. And Isabel is walking behind them. You see, Isabel is different. She is slightly less composed in that she's just slightly less restrained. And she's quite... She's very attentive to him. She's very kind to him. And almost seems to be...
Is she delicate? In her speech, in the way she handles herself?
A little bit.
Okay.
A little bit.
Like there is a shift and I can see it.
There is a definite shift. A kind of almost weird shift, actually. But yes, it is there. And you make your way to court. So, around this time, Finn will inform you that you have been summoned before court, and he will say that Sir Kerstag wishes to speak with you, and you will be sent to a bingo hall.
Okay.
And when you arrive, the thing that will strike you is that you are the youngest person here
Yep.
by probably 40 years.
Is that it?
I mean, maybe more. Maybe more.
If you were to double your age, you'd still be the youngest.
Yeah, you would still be the youngest person, yeah. There are many bald heads and white-haired heads
Hey,
in this room.
dude.
And
Nice.
Yeah.
Washing.
nevertheless, it does not take Silas long to locate where she is. It's quite a noisy atmosphere because, of course, the numbers are being called. There is an air of concentration here as well. Like, this does not feel like they're playing for laughs. This is life or death, serious bingo going on. But yeah, you will locate Kerstag. She is dressed actually very similarly to the last time you met her. So she's still wearing what looks like quite a warm, comfy, like smart but cozy jumper, and she's got a spiderwebby shawl over it. There is also a chair next to her table. It is currently empty.
I will probably take a seat next to her.
She says, Silas, there you are. No, I'm going to be paying attention to this. But what I want you to do is tell me about what you saw. And she'll start paying attention, marking down things. You'll occasionally hear the numbers being called. 2 and 3, 23.
Yeah, I'll tell the basic spaces of what was kind of seen throughout the court.
No, I'm not interested in court, Silas. I know about court. I was there. I want to know about the prince. You remember I told you?
Yep.
Pay close attention to him. So what did you find out?
I couldn't really get a read of the prince. I'm afraid. So.
You didn't see anything?
Not in particular.
Well, did you look?
I tried to look. It's a different scenario than I'm used to. My apologies. I couldn't really get anything.
So, when you go there, you alone with the prince, close.
Yep.
You saw nothing.
I saw nothing that told me anything.
You didn't look. Did he look injured to you? Did he look hurt? Did he look strange? Did you not see a single bloody thing?
Not that I could tell would be unusual for him. I'm afraid.
There's a pause. And it's a pause not just from her, it's a pause from everyone in the bingo hall, because the guy doing the call has seemed to had trouble finding a number, and you hear people tutting around the room. And then he's like, all the twos, 22. And then there's a feverish thing of, she says, I see. So what you're saying is, Silas, you failed me.
My apologies.
Shakes head. Get out of my sight.
Yeah, and we'll come.
You get maybe 4 paces away when you hear her say, what are you doing, Silas?
What you instructed me to.
No, sit down.
I'm back.
You've got to learn to stand up for yourself. In court, they'll not be gentle with you. And this clan, we're strong. We don't mind a bit of argument. Just make your case. If you couldn't see anything, if it was impossible, you say so. Right?
Thank you.
You make a stand. We're not a Ventru. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Right, now get out of my sight. You failed me.
Are you sure this time? Are you not going to call me back this time, or?
She smiles. There you go, you're learning. Now go. She goes back to her thing.
Wait for a second.
She doesn't say anything this time.
Walk it further away. And go.
Okay.
Dude, what's with the attacks? All people, Ventru.
I know. I'm a terrible man. Okay.
Don't mess with the Tash.
So, of course, Velvet, before court, you are also given a message, this time from Wallace, along with an address.
Yay.
It is basically that, seeing as you had asked,
Yep.
he would like you to get Seth and make sure he's at court on time,
Well,
as you missed the last one.
I drive myself there, wherever it is.
Luckily, you know how to drive, and you could
I've
probably...
never driven in England before.
Unluckily, it's on the wrong side of the...
So, it's on the wrong side of the road. The roads, what is with these people and their little tiddy
Their
roads?
cars are so narrow.
There is just 100 things wrong with this whole setup.
Roundabouts going... in the
What is a
opposite
roundabout? What even is a roundabout? Yeah, what do I do when I get to this? I just go round it.
There was a slightly
direction.
fraught,
Twice.
Yeah.
That makes no sense.
drive. The only thing that makes it, in some ways, but the good news is it is a short drive.
Okay.
The bad news is you realise that this address you're going to is really not very far from where you live, or at least where your family lives.
Shit.
Like shockingly close. Like you could walk there. It is slightly outside of because you don't live in town itself. You live slightly out because there are nicer properties and things there. This is out of the village, very much on its own, but it's not like a grand mansion. But it's just a house kind of just off the road,
Okay.
a little bit further away. And so you park up, assumedly, and you...
Yep. Has Wallace told me who this person is beyond his name?
What, beyond Seth?
Yes. Do I know what he is to Wallace?
Are you asking?
Yes.
He will have told you that Seth is his brother, basically.
Okay.
In the same way that Rupert is
It is.
his.
Okay, right, fine.
So you come to the door.
Yep.
Seems very quiet, this house.
I knock on the door.
There is a bell, by the way.
Oh, like I ring the bell.
You ring the bell. And an old-looking man will come to the door. You've been waiting a little while from when you rung the bell. The man that opens it looks a little bit like Peter Cushing, but you're pretty sure is not Peter Cushing.
Who is pushing?
I'll explain after.
But in that he's quite thin, but there is a little bit of presence around him. You know, he seems like a man who has a little bit of authority. And he looks at you. He says, yes.
I'll say, I'm looking for Seth. I've been sent by Mr. Benoit.
Mr. Riley, I believe.
Right.
He says, this way. And he'll gesture for you to come inside.
I follow him.
He will shut that door and you find yourself in a very small porchway. Can you just make a very quick crafts and intelligence roll for me?
1.
Your intelligence is
The thing
saving you.
that will strike you as he opens the second door is that you think this house is soundproofed.
That can't be good.
And as he opens this second door and you step through, you hear the sound of a gunshot.
Okay.
Bloodline is demented.
And he shuts the door, so you're now past the porch together, and he says, I've done my best for Mr. Benoit today.
Right. Well, he wasn't quite clear on what to expect, so...
I see. He says, some things are probably best seen for themselves.
All right, well, we have to make a journey to the court, so I guess we'd better see what we see.
Yes. So he'll take you upstairs, and you will hear a few more gunshots.
I look around to try to remember my route back to the exit.
Yeah, it's not a maze-like house. You're pretty sure you can work out the way.
Walking up the stairs and looking down the stairwells, would I
Or I just
throw
close
myself
windows, because I'm
here?
happy to throw myself out a window.
Sure.
Yeah, soundproof window.
You make some escape plans as
Yeah.
you go, and you come to a door. He knocks, and then says, "You have a visitor, sir, a Mr. Riley." And then he doesn't go into the room. He just pushes the door open for you and steps back, so he's not in the immediate way of the
next gunshot.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll step through the door. I try to do this as confidently as possible,
Okay.
but I do not feel confident.
You put on your brave face, though you do not feel brave, and you step into the room. You've only gone a few steps in when you hear the door close behind you. So, this room is a mess.
Okay.
But it looks like it's quite a nice room. The furniture is nice. It looks like it's well decorated and things. However, one of the walls is decorated in cracks and bullet holes. And there is a couch which has had quite a nice chair pulled quite up close to it so that the person sitting on the couch can have their feet on the chair,
Okay.
on the armchair. And you kind of do a double take when you go in, because sitting there with a revolver in his hand is what at first glance looks like what Wallace might look like when he first gets up in the morning or in the night, but before he does his hair or anything else. But exactly like Wallace.
Oh.
Really very, very...
As if they were twins.
As if they were twins. And so he looks to be in his early 30s. He also has a very slim face. His hair is a bit greasier looking than Wallace's is, and it's just worn kind of messy. He is wearing a pair of trousers, which look, reasonably courtly appropriate, maybe, if they were ironed. But he's not wearing much else. He's got very, very pale skin. There are very dark marks under his eyes. He looks... Oh, there's also blood around his mouth, you note. Not lots, but he's fed but not cleaned it up.
Yeah. Any is too much.
It might also strike you that in one of the other armchairs, although they're covered by a coat, are a pair of legs. They're not bare, they're trousers and boots on the end of them. Or shoes, sorry.
Whatever they're bullet holes in whatever it's covered by.
No. There's no bullet holes. Okay. But there is definitely somebody on that chair, but they're currently covered by a coat.
Okay. I'll say, are you South?
Well, yes, I am. Who's this?
I'm Velvet.
Velvet.
Right.
Velvet. That name sounds familiar.
Wallace's child.
Oh my. Do you shoot?
As it happens, I do.
He flips the revolver and hands it to you.
Okay. I don't have any dots in firearms.
Then it's just a composure roll.
See if I can even figure this out. I'll aim at the wall.
With hunger.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh yeah. You aim at the wall.
Just the wall that has all the crooks.
Yeah.
I have 2.
Yeah, you shoot.
That's better than Theodore, and he does have the skill.
He will clap, and well, we might get on just fine.
It does seem that way, don't it?
Oh yeah. So, what brings you down here? You wanted to introduce yourself, family to family?
I sure did. I was hoping it would have happened before today, but as it is, seems there's a court gathering, and it seems that we're all wanted there. So I offered to come meet you myself.
Well,
Travel there with you. I got my car outside.
that's mighty fine, kind of you, but I don't really feel like going to court today, so I don't think I'm gonna go. You want to come stay here with me? You sit down, and we can fire a gun together. It's the best way to meet a person, in my opinion.
Well, we already met and fired a gun together. But as it is, I don't have a choice about going. I have to go.
There's always a choice.
Of course, there's always a choice, but it's not a sensible choice, right?
Well, I mean, I have a choice. So you enjoy your court if you want. I think I'm gonna sit here.
Why don't you want to go?
Well,
I mean, I get that it's boring, right? I get that it ain't the best way to spend a period of time.
It is dull.
Right. I get that. I've been there once. If I didn't gotta go again, then I wouldn't have.
See, you get it. It's boring. I don't want to go. I don't want to listen to that prince or his herald go on and on.
You don't gotta convince me of it, but if we went together, maybe it wouldn't be so boring, right?
Why, you got something fun planned?
I don't know. I've got an impression that there's probably gonna be something kicking off down there.
What do you mean kicking off?
Well, there's supposed to be a duel of sorts.
There is?
Right.
Well, no one told me about no duel.
Well, that's what happens if you don't go to court.
Well, why didn't Wallace come and tell me? He knows I like a duel.
I can't speak for Wallace. I wouldn't even try.
Well, ain't that the damn truth? He can speak for himself, can't he? All the damn time.
I mean, yeah, exactly. So if you come, you might get to see something interesting.
Well, suppose I could come, but...
Gotta stay the whole night, right?
He looks down, he says, but I'm not really ready to go to court. It's a lot of effort.
Well...
You know, I don't even know when my...
guy who'll show me in here, he must be able to get...
Oh, Eugene?
Right, you gotta be able to press your suit, right?
Well, yes, he can. He's so slow. Call be over by the time he's done it.
Why do you keep him...
Eugene!
Why do you keep
Eugene! Well, I didn't... It's not my servant. Well, he is. You know what I mean. I didn't pick him.
Sure. You know what? I can get you some better help.
You know, I like you, Velvet. Eugene! He fires the gun a couple of times into the ceiling.
If Eugene isn't turning up, is there anywhere in here anything that looks like a wardrobe?
Yeah, there is a wardrobe, yeah.
Okay, I'll go to the wardrobe and see what I can find. Whilst complaining about his help. Your help is not even close to...
Oh, he's damn slow, and he pretends he's deaf, but he is not deaf, let me tell you.
No, I get that, because he heard the bell, right? So
selective hearing. Damn old people.
we need to do something about that.
Sure do. I have a good mind to... So Eugene turns up around this time. He's like, did you call, sir? And damn, I called nearly 2 minutes ago. You get your damn... I've got a gentleman here. A gentleman having to root around in my wardrobe because you're not even... And he goes on like this for some time. And he says, if you were so disgusting, I would drain your blood right here and now. Eugene says, I am, of course, not worthy of such an honor, sir. No, you damn well are not worthy. So now you get my clothes. We got to go to court. So Eugene will start doing this. And while he's doing it, Seth will say, you hungry, Velvet? So I've got something right here if you want it. He gestures to the chair.
The chair. I will. I'll have a look at what's underneath the.
Okay.
What's underneath the thing?
So you go over to this chair.
Yeah.
And you assumably pull back
Yeah.
the coat. So the first thing that will strike you with some relief, perhaps, is that this person seems to be asleep rather than dead.
Okay.
And they are breathing.
Yeah.
They look to be a young man, maybe early 20s. He's got freckles. ginger hair. He looks like he's maybe works out a little bit. You know, he's quite well built in that way that most, you know, he obviously spends a good portion of his spare time at the gym.
Okay.
And he also looks like maybe he was, like, although he's wearing like trousers and like outdoor shoes, he's wearing what looks like a kind of gym tank top.
Okay. Do I have any way to make an assessment of how unwell my feeding off him might make him? I don't think.
He does look pale.
Okay. Okay, in which case, if he's getting... Seth's getting dressed, right?
He is getting
so
dressed.
He's not looking.
He's not looking at
so
you,
I
no.
will just pretend... I will just make like I've done this and not do it.
Okay.
Because, you know, there's like a thing over him. I don't have to be obvious about it.
So you pretend to... How much are you over-egging? Are you just going to pretend to feed quietly and discreetly, or are you going to make some fuss of how...
No, not
okay.
at all. Yeah.
So when you're done,
Yeah.
he's like, so, how was it?
It's all right.
He says, yeah, I know, right?
Yeah. It ain't...
It's not my best. I'm sorry.
Sorry,
Guess should get better. I did not know you were coming. That's my excuse. But I'm sorry. You deserve better. We will find someone after court. We will find someone suitable, and we will have a fine meal.
All right. Let's do it.
Let's do that.
Right.
So, Eugene moves pain. You're like aware of the time.
Yeah.
Eugene is clearly trying to help him get dressed. The problem also is that Seth gets distracted and talks to you a lot when he's supposed to be like doing things with his clothes and stuff. But so it's kind of
I'm
painful.
like a 6-year-old, so can I help dress him? Because I'm used to people who are distracted while being dressed.
I will say yes, and that these skills are incredibly transferable. So between you and Eugene, you managed to dress Seth and get him out of the house. I don't know if Velvet will even bat an eyelid, but he does look like he's taking his gun with him.
Am I aware that if there are any rules around taking weapons to court?
There are rules around taking weapons. You will know actually that there are rules against taking weapons in unless you're a knight. But
Okay.
you can take them out of his house. But if he actually goes into
Okay.
the
fine.
OSM itself,
And I'll just wait to get him in the car and address that point then.
okay. So you set off to court.
Yep.
And that, I think, because we're going to pick up court after the break. So we'll take a break there.
So first things first, we still have a giveaway. So for those of you who are wishing to gain your own bona fide piece of original Amis unbalanced / crest silverware smithing magical work, you have to remember that the giveaway is for everybody who is already a patron of ours or a subscriber on Twitch. You already have your name in the hat, and if you get other people to subscribe, not only they will have their names put towards the the giveaway, but also you get a referral additional entry. So get cracking, because we are going to be doing this at episode 10 at the end of season 1. Now I will leave you with Bex, the relationship map, and the speaking stake, which I did not use.
It's okay.
Bad catalog.
Don't tell Mitch. Don't tell Mitch.
Yeah. I now have the stake. So, relationship map. It's been updated from our last episode prior to this one, so 2 weeks ago. So from that we had T, who we added for Silas. She's under Teresa Ann, as T's a nickname.
Yep.
Sogan Suk. We added Adam's clan. Now we know that he's Ventru. And we also added a picture of Adam, which was done by Cedar. A picture of Isabel, which is done by Angarad. So thank you for that. And also Cedar's picture of Sir Francis, which was done sometime before that, but I slackly forgot to add it on there and have now done that. And then in addition to that, I've got, this is my notes from before, which are to say thank you to Frassi Sass for the great fic for Sarah, which I know went up a couple of weeks ago, and for Imp Servant for the picture of Joanne, which was phenomenal. And then I think this week we added Cedar's picture of Adam and Velvet. So those are the updates, and they're all available under the relationship map is available under Shrek.net files, and then the other stuff, the new art, is available under Evan's Gallery on the website.
Now, thank you very much. We have shout outs to give. Of course, Cedar, who was mentioned for her saucy art of Adam and Velvet. But I am still, as you can see, doing Movember. So I will be tweeting again the link to my Mo space. And please help your local Mo. So if you are abroad, you don't have to go into my page. Help anyone who is doing this cause. Doesn't matter if you're a Mo bro or a Mo sister. Just get cracking to it. I think the names are cool. I think that the app for Movember for helping or for doing what I'm doing is super cool. It has a lot of little things that you can add to your pictures and check your progress. And yes, Movember. Now Dragon Meat. Oh, we are going.
So
We are.
So for those of you for people who may have been there last year or not, myself, Carlos, and Peter all went last year. It was amazing. We met some amazing people who will be there again. Who'll be there again this year. So people like Arklands, Crystal Harterbacker, they're again this year. Nibiru as well, because with Nibiru, their Kickstarter rewards have been coming out now, so they are in the process of sending. So I'll be picking up mine there.
So for those of you who don't know, Dragon Meat is a convention for role players and people that love dice, and there are essentially lots of great places you can go to get various new kind of role-playing systems and old role-playing systems, meet like-minded people, and there are lots of games that run over the course of the convention as well that people can participate on. And I know that a couple of people are going to come in a moment telling you some of the stuff that they're doing. The thing that I want to give a specific mention to is Arklands, which we talked about, as Phil was saying, like last year. They are now starting to launch and they are doing basically like a specialist module for 5th edition D&D. And the exciting thing is not only that they're going to launch it, but they're also going to be doing a number of events over the day, including kind of play testing their stuff, which has things like it's got a custom world with custom backgrounds, custom character classes and races, and some really interesting things. I don't know a lot about it, but I do know they're tying a lot of the backgrounds into things like geography. So where your character is born and where they come from affects the kind of things and skills they can do. But anyway, they are going to run a game to playtest it, and some of us are going to be playing in that game. So hooray for us and hooray for them. But yes, if you are at Dragon's Meet, they do come and find us and say hi and see the Arklands people and see the cool stuff they're getting up to.
I'll be wearing my Moses beanie to increase visibility.
I'll be wearing the trilby.
Yeah.
I will not be wearing the velvet wig.
Damn it!
I know some of us are probably going to be playing in games when we're there.
Oh yeah.
So I know I'm playing in I think it's called Missing Dues, the Call of Cthulhu one game during the evening. So if you want to come there and play a game with me,
You
that's the
can.
name of it.
Can do that.
Your shout out.
So a couple of shout-outs from me, a couple of things that I'm involved in if you are not seeing it from me here. So for starting this Wednesday for 4 weeks, I'm going to be on the Capricorn Cross Twitch channel, returning as my Asmar Shadow Sorcerer Vanshu for another game. So much fun, that character. In addition to that, an announcement's going to be going up on Twitter this week very soon for a little thing on Scratch channel for this Saturday. So which is I'm very excited about, but can't say anything more yet.
Now, a new rule
So
rises.
I was going to talk about a new rule, like a homebrew rule, that I was going to implement. However, as is often the way, it hasn't come out in play yet, and I don't want to spoil for the players what may be possibly on the cards. So what I'll probably do is talk about it maybe at the end today or next week's session. So stay tuned. But yes, I've been playing with the rules once again, along with Mitch. We've been tinkering, and we have a slight shift we're going to make, which may possibly impact. The other thing to mention, of course, for those of you who support us, you have voted And worry not, we have seen the results of the vote, and we're looking forward to seeing how that impacts our players' lives soon.
Nope, I do not fail a fear check for that one.
Oh dear.
The memes.
The memes are beautiful.
I can already see the memes coming again.
So, Mitch, have we got any questions this week?
We've got some questions. A lot of people asking about Diablerie.
What is that? If I would say.
Who in the Coterie will be most willing to Diablerize?
Me.
Those two, I think.
Wait. You. Who?
As in to Diablerize someone else?
Yeah.
Who would be the
But not
most likely
someone-
of the
okay.
coterie
Oh yeah. Okay.
to
Yeah.
engage in Diablerie?
Definitely me.
Well, the science has no idea.
If
what
I knew
is.
what it
If
was.
the princess Diablerize this, bitch, I'll do it.
I mean, I would have to know what it was, of course.
Yeah.
I sadly know, like, Theodore knows all too well what it is.
Who do you think each of the characters would Diablerize if they had the chance?
So the question is, who would the characters Diablerize if they had the chance?
Fucking Naoto. Naoto Yamaguchi.
Yes,
I mean,
for those who've seen Theodore's Prelude, you'll know who he's referring to.
Yeah.
I want to say Wallace, but I don't really want any more of his shit inside me.
I mean, honestly, any one of Science's line, because they're just an awesome line, and just having that as a little voice in the head.
Yeah, good luck with that.
You want the voice of Silas's line. You want like a 24/7 line to Finn in your head, do you?
I mean, anyone do, they were pretty decent. I probably would get taken over by them.
Maybe I'll go with Seth. I need to be more reckless.
I genuinely don't think Joanne would want to Diablerize literally anyone.
Okay.
She's too nice.
Boring.
And any more for any more?
So those two questions were from Ghostbat and Hidden.
Thank you, Ghostbat. Thank you.
Thank you.
And Alphanes asks what everyone's favourite discipline is.
What is everyone's favourite discipline?
All of them.
Yeah.
All of them.
Yeah, I suppose you can.
Are we differentiating? Are we just keeping it V5?
Yeah, let's keep it V5 for now.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
some weird stuff happening in 3rd edition and 4th. I know. Let's see. I think one of my favorite disciplines of the of V5 has to be animalism, because it's very versatile, and I think that having those two, like the outwards and inwards, like just like fortitude or other disciplines that are like half outside and half inside, like the mental powers of animalism are amazing, like being able to sense the beast in other people or being able to quell the beast. I think it's one of the funniest to play too.
Thin Blood Alchemy.
Controversial.
The imitation of the other disciplines is just like, okay, yeah, if I do some fucked up shit for some of them, like one of them is for every Thin Blood like alchemy, it has to be either within yourself or a live person.
Stupid.
And some of the stuff that you have to put in these people is fucked up. So like,
And that's why it's your favourite.
I can't answer this because I don't know what any of them are. I only know them from the previous rule set.
What was the one from the previous?
Yeah, go on.
Dominate, but they've changed it and I don't like when they've changed it.
Because personally, I'm learning disciplines as I go, and I haven't had a massive amount of opportunity to explore the disciplines I've got here. So, from what previously it was fortitude, because you just couldn't. It was just so damn hard to put the guy down. You couldn't put him down until he was put down.
So next question, Mitch. Do we have more?
Yeah, any more for any more?
No, that's it.
Okie
Thank you.
dokie, thank you. Yeah, thank you very much. So, shall we get to court, as it were?
Hey.
Oh boy.
All right. So the court this time is being held at the Divinity School, which is a very fancy 15th century building, for those of you who know about architectural things. And you will also, in terms of the homesteading rules that we're applying, this is a place that has obvious history and kind of decorum attached to it. And so whilst you're in there, you will get a bonus dice to any rolls you have to make against composure, because it's a place that feels like it has heritage and dignity, and it's easy to be a bit more restrained in that space. And there are no negative penalties for this space either. Yes.
Does it have anything on it that would preclude me from entering? Because it's the School of Divinity.
It is the School of Divinity, and I think that you probably will have to make some kind of dice. Well, I'll tell you what, I will roll.
Okay, yep.
And then I'll explain to you how it feels when you approach.
It burns! It burns!
sorry, I didn't know you were drinking water.
So...
Sorry. Bad timing.
You will all arrive to court in the company, apart from Velvet, of your sires, because obviously you're not currently released, and therefore it's appropriate that you turn up with your sires. But you have an uncle bringing you, or well, you're bringing your uncle to
Uncle
this
Seth.
one.
I want Uncle Seth to leave his gun in the car.
Uncle Seth.
Seth will say to you, but don't you think it'd be fun? Bring it in.
I do think that, but I think if you get caught, you're in a whole world of trouble.
But I won't tell if you won't tell.
Well, telling ain't the problem. It's getting caught that's the problem. I'm not going to tell anyone.
Okay, fine, but this duel better be good.
All right?
He puts his gun away. He'll put it in your glove compartment of your car.
Yay!
And you make your way to court.
Probably they have licenses for that kind of thing here.
So I should say that you won't have been there long when Sir Enolf will part company with you. But he will make a point of saying goodbye to you.
Yes, absolutely. It's been an honor and a pleasure.
We will speak soon. He goes. Isabel immediately looks like normal Isabel again. And she says, I think that went well.
I think so too. He's a most fascinating figure. I think there's a lot I could learn from him.
I'm sure that's true. I'm sure you've already learnt a lot.
Oh, absolutely.
But we'll talk of this another time.
Surely.
So she will leave you kind of in court to your own... Oh, sorry, one last thing she'll say is, it might be wise for you to be seen with your coterie mates when the prince arrives, seeing as you've been working hard together.
As we have, so...
So she will leave you with the job of herding cats.
Yep.
Are you kind of gathering up as a group, or are you staying separate?
I am walking towards sort of a centric place, and I start staring at them one by one.
What, to try and get them to come and join you?
Yes.
I need to drop Seth off with Wallace, so I'm expected to babysit him the whole time.
Are you trying to find Wallace?
Yeah, but I am also telling Seth that this duel concerns Rupert, because I think he might be interested in this.
Rupert?
Yeah.
What's Rupert done? Rupert wouldn't even say boo to it. The only thing scared of Rupert, the only thing Rupert picks a fight with is a hamburger.
Well, I don't disagree with you, but I thought there might be an added level of interest for you.
Well, who picked a fight with Rupert?
Sally.
Oh, she's crazy. That girl is crazy.
Right. Well, you know what? If it goes down...
I mean, I know you shouldn't say that about that clan, but it's true in her
Why not?
case. Oh, that's why people say they're cursed. Their blood makes them funny in the head.
Oh,
Wallace not tell you this?
probably. I don't know.
Don't you? I got you covered. You ask about anything, I'll tell you. I'll tell you the truth as well. Not that crap they tell you.
Right, well, we better find Wallace, I guess.
Why? He's just going to try and give us stuff to do and like instructions. If you don't hear what he said, it's like he never said it. Let's stay here where it's fun.
I tend to find that if you don't hear what he says, he sort of looks you up to tell you a second.
Well, then let him look us up. Let's have some fun before he finds us.
I'm still not going to try and drag him off towards anyone in my family at this point. I'm Rafe, probably, if I can find him.
Okay, he will be trying to literally do the
Yes.
opposite. He will rather go near anyone but his family.
I mean, I don't want to take him near these good people because he's obviously a psychopath.
Well, so there is a point at which, of course, Theodore, you will catch Theodore's eye.
Yes.
You will see that Rafe is already here, but he's not anywhere near where Theodore is.
Yeah.
And Rupert will also be here. Are you trying to get him towards one of those?
Yeah.
You won't see Wallace yet. Who are you trying to take him to?
Probably Rafe,
Okay.
who asked for him last time.
Yeah, Big Daddy.
If I catch your eye, I'll just make him roll my eyes if Seth's not looking.
Yeah, I look at you and thinking.
I'm like this.
Wallace looks rough tonight.
Yeah, Wallace.
Through my head, it's like you roll your eyes and I go like, okay. I mean, Velvet is with his sire.
Yeah.
Sir Wallace is looking rough.
He does look rough.
As long as Velvet is with his sire, I will not make a fuss of it. I will scan to see if I find.
He's wearing. He looks vaguely smartly dressed, but he doesn't look properly attired. He's not carrying a saber or any other thing either. He just looks like he's dressed down for this court.
Like the pass of shame when you arrive at work with the same clothes you were wearing the day before. It's like you had a nice party. Sort of. Does he have that look in his face that he was?
He doesn't look himself in a way. It's fair to say.
Okay.
You will know. So when you're walking towards, he will say.
I'll give Velvet a pass of not having the coterie grouping.
Okay.
Because
he will say, "I think that man's staring at me."
Which one?
He says, "That old one. I don't recognize him. Who is that man?
Oh,
I don't like the way he's staring at me, Velvet."
well, I don't think we ought to worry about it too much.
Oh, he stopped now. Must have heard us.
Right. Probably because, folks know who we are, right?
Damn right they do.
I wouldn't pay him too much mind.
Yeah, you're right.
It's okay.
So
I just look
This
at
is
the
for
other
your
thing.
good.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you take him over. You said to Rafe,
Move
didn't
towards
you?
Rafe, yeah.
Okay.
I'm trying not to look too obvious, but that's my circuitous.
Yeah, you get to Rafe. Rafe will give you a kind of nod, and then looks to Seth and says, "We have a lot to talk about." He says, "You missed the last court." He says, "Well, I had things to do." And Rafe says,
I've seen my future.
Rafe says, "Well, then I hope you finish them, because I'm about to tell you what you're going to be doing." And you're kind of dismissed
Okay, fine.
non-verbally, and presumably you
Yeah,
can't gather
I
up.
go back towards these guys.
So, anyone else not? Okay, if you go to join Theodore, Barnaby will not join you.
I didn't think so.
And
I will.
okay, yeah, Finn will leave you to it and go off to see the others. So you gather up as a group.
I try to assess where would the prince and the herald will be coming from.
You can see a number. So I should say this space, by the way, looks and feels a bit like the inside of a church, and you feel okay. Like when you think you might be car sick,
Yeah.
but it hasn't come. But you just feel a little bit like the sooner this is over, the better.
Okay.
You feel a bit like that. That continued motion might lead to disaster, to take my analogy, to its extent. But at the moment, you've got it under control. But you don't feel fully comfortable in yourself.
Okay.
So like I say, it feels like a church. High-ceilinged, beautiful stained glass windows. There aren't pews, though, or anything like that. And you will also see that there have been a set of chairs arranged in a circle at kind of one end. And some of the knights seem to be drifting towards those chairs.
Yeah, I sort of walk with the group, sort of gravitate in sort of like if they're like in a half circle or whatever, I sort of gravitate to one side because people that are important will want to be like up front and center. So we'll be on the sidelines, but sort of close.
Okay.
So we can hear what happens and stuff. And look alive, people. We are aiming to gain the Boon Keeper's attention, so we can settle the matter of the duel.
Right.
I just want to say, while everything's happening, I want to, like, again, like I did in the last court, look around and try to guesstimate how many people are here.
Okay. So you will start getting an impression this time. You've got a bit longer to watch them drift in, and as time goes on, you would guesstimate there are somewhere around 40, including yourselves. So one other thing to say is that Sally will be making her way over to your group, and Rupert will also be making your way over. She says, so, I suppose this is where we get things dealt with, is it?
Indeed. Good evening, Miss Harrick.
Good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening. Then Rupert arrives and says, good evening, everyone. And Sally. And her eyes narrow slightly, but she doesn't say anything. And he says, I trust we're about to conclude our business before the prince arrives. Keep everything hush-hush, as it were.
I have been trying to look for the Bone Keeper, I'm afraid. We're not familiar with the Bone Keeper, so if you could instruct us.
Don't you worry, we'll handle things from here. But for your information, the Bone Keeper is it's just over there. And he points to a fairly unassuming looking man with slightly wild hair, who is dressed quite smartly. Again, he's not wearing a tie, however. Some of you of certain clans may note. He is... The main thing, however, that will strike you is he's wearing quite a heavy-looking belt, which is at odds with the rest of his clothes, in that it looks like it's the kind of thing you'd wear as like a workman's tool belt. But instead of tools hanging from that belt, there are a number of strips of metal that all seem to have marks stamped into them. He looks, by the way, from a distance, probably somewhere in his... You think probably mid-30s, I'd guess. He looks quite slight, you know. I mean, obviously, you know he's probably kindred, but if he wasn't, you could probably push him over without too much effort. But he does seem to be having a fairly animate discussion. Does anybody have a, let's say, wits or resolve and alertness pool halved of 3 or more?
Alertness.
So basically, if your spotting things pool is 6, then it'd be 3 halved.
No, mine's 4.
Yours is 4.
Mine's,
Is that halved or total?
No, that's
Total.
mine's like
Total, yeah.
1.5.
Okay.
Yeah, mine.
So there's nothing more to say there from this distance at this time. But he does seem to be in conversation with the Herald. You will note.
With the Herald,
Yes.
I approach Silas and say, probably it'd be best if the Bone Keeper were alerted that he's going to be having a conversation. So,
How best to approach?
just ask him for a minute of his time, and we will escort them towards the Bone Keeper. Just go ahead, like the Vanguard. So like, announce us.
Yeah, and I will do.
So you're approaching the Herald and the Bonekeeper, and you are...
I going back with Velvet and Joanne to Rupert and Sally. Casual conversation, but I position myself in a way that I have a clear line of sight to where Silas is, and the moment I see him exchanging words with the Bone Keeper, I will make it. I believe they're ready for us now. You know, sort of like.
Okay, so you're looking for an opening.
Sure that no harsh words are said in these final moments, because this is the most crucial point.
Yeah, it does strike you that Sally just looks irritated by Rupert's presence on some fundamental animalistic level.
Can I just take Rupert away a little bit?
Yeah?
Yeah.
You can do
Talk
that?
to him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's very happy to engage in conversation.
Yes.
All right, so you tag team conversations with these two.
That is effectively what we have been doing.
Yeah.
Like, tag teaming, and then when Silas gives the go, I'll announce it to them. And
so, Silas, you get there and you will hear the herald's voice saying, "I do always find it interesting to find where you will have placed yourself this time. Mr. Shaw, have you come to speak with me, perchance?"
I'm afraid not. We would request a moment of the Boonkeeper's time if he is available.
How disappointing. He turns and leaves you there. So the Boonkeeper looks to you. You're much taller and bigger than he is. He says, "Oh, hello."
Hello. I don't think we've been introduced. I'm Silas Shaw.
Gareth.
Gareth.
Thomas, the Boonkeeper.
signaling the moment they start a conversation.
You start. Okay, you marshal. Right, between you, it is
just in case someone wants to like cut in and have a word with Rupert or Sally.
Can I just let Sally go ahead of Rupert?
Yeah.
Because I think that's more social.
Okay.
Yeah, she will feel like he's getting her thing now.
So you manoeuvre them all, and you see the Boonkeeper, like when he sees them all, he says, "Oh, is everything all right?"
Yeah. Yes. Just got a moment of your time, and
Right, you are. He says, they're not going to fight, are they?
I believe this is what we've been arranging to avoid that. So.
Right. Okay. Very very noble of you.
Thank you.
So you come along, you gather them. Anyone saying anything in terms of the presentation of Rupert and Sally, or are you letting them get on with it?
No, I will present them. This is Miss Sally Herc, I'm Malkavian, Miss Rupert, the whole...
Okay, you do Bentry-style presentations
without
of them.
going into the lineages.
Okay.
Then I believe since last quarter, they have been an agreement between them that needs to be brought to your attention, of course. Our humble coterie just aided in the process, if you'll excuse me. And I step back just to make the circle a little bigger, so as to make it a little more noticeable with the people around.
Okay.
So if this is resolved, then we will get a little bit of clout.
So Sally says, Rupert wants to make amends and wants to give me a boon. And Rupert says, no need to get into the sordid details here. We've come to our agreement. So, Mr. Thomas, if we could maybe move a little away from the people are rather staring. And, well, this is a business should be conducted, not under the spotlight, so to speak. And Sally says, well, it depends on the business, doesn't it? Oh, yes, of course, it depends on the... I wasn't trying to criticise, I was just saying, you know. And then Sally says, let's just do it, shall we? And he says, quite. And they thank you for that. And you will see them go a little bit away, and there is obviously some kind of discussion. And you'll see him starting to take out one of these, take something off his belt, and is making a discussion. Although you can't hear their discussions unless you're using clever means or trying really hard, you will notice Sally making kind of more expansive gestures and Rupert making more kind of minimising gestures. And the Boonkeeper kind of looking between them a bit like a tennis match. But nevertheless, stuff seems to happen. Gradually, as this is going on, more people are coming. And Sir Gansuk will approach your group. He's the only knight, in fact, who doesn't seem to be automatically drifting towards the top. You'll recognise Sir James Douglas is there. You will recognise Sir Kerstag is there. You will now see Sir Wallace has arrived. Sir Rafe obviously is already there.
Sir Enolf.
Sir Enolf is already there this time. You're not sure if she was there at the last court, but he's here now.
No, he wasn't in the last.
So Holder will be there. So they're all kind of moving up. So anyway, so again, the Prince, however, is not here, nor is Sir William at this time.
Okay.
Nor is Sir Francis.
That was my.
That was your next question. So there are lots of other kindred turning up. Are you? Adam is here. Are you making a point of not looking over at him, or are you?
Yeah, but not an obvious one. Basically, I'm not gonna.
You're going to try and not let it be obvious that you're doing it. Can you make a resolve and subterfuge, just to see whether it's at all noticeable that you are the smouldering that passes across the floor, or whether it might be observable to others?
I better spend some willpower.
Okay.
Can I roll something to see if I notice this?
You can totally roll.
Yeah.
You can just roll resolve and alertness.
Oh shit.
Can I roll insight?
Why not? Why not? Insight won't necessarily let you know where the look is going to, but it'll let you know the emotional.
Oh well, that's a horror show.
What did you get?
2.
2's all right.
Yeah, also,
I mean, vampires aren't known for being able to
17
notice
dice or
things.
Something. She
off
pulled
of
a
10
Theo.
dice. Yeah.
She pulled a Theo.
You pull a Theo. Never pull a Theo.
What successes?
Okay. So not immediately, but over the course of this court, it will become apparent to Joanne that Velvet has his eye on someone. Like, there's just something about a look. And, like, he's trying to be... He can't stop himself from looking in a certain direction. And your sense of it is not like, this is my hated enemy. It's like, this is someone that he obviously is keeping... In the same way that if you were a parent with a child, there's a young child, there's always a bit of you that's kind of tracking where they are, whatever you're doing. And this feels a little... There's something of that concern or care, perhaps even naked lust, who knows, but some kind of positive emotion anyway, and need to look in that direction. But you won't, because it's it's an insight into Velvet rather than a pinpoint, they're looking at this person.
That's what I wanted.
All right. So things seem to resolve, and the boonkeeper hurries off when they're done with Rupert to go and talk to the herald. And then Sally will come back to you, your group, and just kind of sort of hangs out in your general area, as it were.
Everything I expect to your satisfaction.
Yes, all is fine.
I'm glad.
And around the time that this is happening, Sagansuk arrives at your group. And he says, when a tree is first planted and it begins to grow, if it is not pruned in the right way, then it will grow badly and sometimes has to be cut back. Sally goes,
Thank you for your wisdom.
He says, if any plant forgets its roots and grows too far alone, then, well, where will its fellows be to catch it, should there be a strong breeze or other disturbance?
Let us hope that we are like the bamboo forest. Deep roots. Back together.
Deep roots growing straight and true. Yes. Joanne, you will notice Sally again looks like she's something. Maybe it's that she's trying not to say something. You're not sure. She's definitely struggling at some level. The rest of you are less aware of that. He looks at you. You are Theodore Penn.
I am.
He steps a little closer to you. You're all close enough that you might hear this, but you're going to have to make a little effort. Are you, or are you leaving this, whatever he's about to say, to be private?
I'll absolutely be listening.
Excellent, excellent. That's what that's the kind of vampire players I like to hear. What about you, Joanne? I can see you having an ethical dilemma.
No such dilemma.
No, I'm more focused on Sally.
Okay, you're watching Sally.
I'm kind of shooting her that.
Like, she doesn't notice you. She's staring at the floor, and you can see a vein throbbing on her temple. She doesn't look quite as intense as normal. She looks a little bit like she's a bit dazed, maybe. He says, you should thank Velvet Riley, for without him, your coming would be the herald of disaster. And then he turns to you, Silas, and kind of walks slightly across the group. and puts his arm around you, around your shoulder, and starts to walk away with the group with you. Are you resisting?
I am not resisting.
You're bigger than him, FYI.
Yep.
He's not, and it feels odd because he has to reach up a little bit to put his arm over your shoulder, but nevertheless he does so in what might be are you at all adjusting to make it easier for him, or are you making him stretch? Okay, so it feels a bit odd. You're having to kind of, but he doesn't walk very far. He walks a few steps. He says, I have a task for you. Before the year is out, go to a place called Webley Road and destroy every light there. Make it difficult for those lights to be replaced.
Okay, and in regards, what will I get in return for this task, sir?
He smiles and leans in and whispers something into your ear. Can you make an intelligence and resolve roll?
Two.
You don't know what he says. He definitely whispers words into your ear. Maybe 2 or 3 sentences worth. But actually, even as he's saying them, the words seem to fade from your mind. The fact that you think he whispered something maybe, but it's hard to grasp what it was. But he takes his arm from your shoulder and says, yes, good, and then walks away. So it's around this time that you will see the doors open to court and a group of what look like kind of soldiers wearing tabards and like leather armour, carrying long poles, mounting a palanquin, enter the room, and sitting upon the chair is the prince. And they will march.
Is he in the same position? Exactly
the same, as if he hasn't moved. And alongside, on one side is the Scourge, Sir Francis, as before, armoured, etc., with the flail and everything else. And on the other is Sir William. Sir William, again, you will note, walks with some effort. Like, it's hard for him to actually keep the pace, because it's one of those things that it's a solemn entrance, but nonetheless, these are people who are used to carrying the weight, and they move fairly quickly, although it looks effortless. And as the prince arrives, all of the knights who've been sat in their chairs stand. And all the court turns. And it's just no one says anything. And then they all arrive and they lower the palanquin down. The rods are removed. The men all bow to the prince and then all file out. And when they are done, the prince, it's hard to tell, you're not even sure he moves at all, but at some gesture or something, the knights all sit. And people in the rest of court seem to relax slightly, as if something's happened. And at that point, the herald steps forward and says, "Welcome, kindred of Oxfordshire, to this court, which is now ready to begin. I'm afraid I must begin with some news. I know many of you were excited for a duel that was to be taking place here in this court, but it seems that wiser heads have prevailed, and the honor of those of the city has been preserved. Let us rejoice in such wisdom. And let us recognize that even younger heads can display insight beyond their years." seems to me, perhaps, is that... And he's about to say something else, and it's like he notices almost as it's happening, like as you realise he's paused, it takes you a moment to kind of realise what the cause of it is. And what it is that Sir James has stood up. And the herald has... It's like someone just pressed pause on the herald. It's like he's talking, he just kind of stops. And Sir James looks around and he says, "This may be so, but do you not think that it brings shame upon an ancilla to be led by the nose by a fledgling pack? Do you not think that those ancilla should have known better in the first place than to disgrace themselves so?" And all of the positive regard, which was heading your way, is no longer on you. It's now going to Rupert and Sally. And there's a definite shift. You see some of the knights shaking their heads in their directions. You feel like that moment of, I'm so glad this isn't me, right? It is awful. There is that kind of look of condemnation. You see Rupert kind of glance desperately in the direction of Rafe, and Rafe just shakes his head. Sir Enolf, who you're probably paying some attention to, is nodding along to what James has said, but
half-hearted.
Like he's kind of vaguely aware this is going on, but like he doesn't really care that much, you know. And a number of things happen. So the first thing that happens is Sally says, "I didn't do anything wrong," and Sir James says, "That is not for you to decide." And around that point, under the weight of the condemnation of the court, Sally's features turn into a snarl. Can you make, let's say, you can make insight if it's higher, you can make awareness if it's higher, and wits rolls, please.
Which an awareness for me? I'm going to have to willpower that, just in case. Because...
3.
Oh.
Okay, 2, 3.
I'll willpower that because...
What did you get, Velvet, sorry?
3.
That's
So, sorry, so
fuck.
I'm just thinking for people listening on the podcast,
Yeah.
Theodore,
I got 2.
3.
Joanne got 3,
3.
Velvet got 3, Silas
4.
got 4. Okay,
Messy, critical.
okay.
Oh, shoot.
All right.
Fine.
So let me just tell you folks what you realise. All of you realise that Sally is going into frenzy. The beast is up. She cannot handle this. And it's not the kind of frenzy where she runs away. She is staring absolute daggers at Sir James, and you think any second now she is about to go give him a piece of not her mind, but her rage. Silas, what was successes? 4? 4, yeah. So those of you with 4 successes also realise, did you get 3 actually? 2.
3.
So 3 and 4, you will realise that Rupert is also succumbing to the beast. You're not clear if it's exactly how Sally is, but he also looks like he's about to lose it. That the condemnation of one of the founding knights of Oxfordshire in front of court has just hit them like trucks, and their beasts have lost it. So, Silas.
Yep.
I guess the question is Silas scared of Sally? Or is he... Yeah, I mean, he might be wary of her, respectful of her. Is he scared of her? No. Okay, so your beast, you haven't gone into frenzy or anything, but your beast sees her going like this, and you are like, there's a fight coming. You go into immediate, you want to stop her. That's what you want. That is, how you choose to do that I will leave in your hands, but Silas is not able to simply stand back and do nothing. He is not going to do nothing. You can decide what you think he will do and how he will do it. I'll give you a moment to think on that. The rest of you, you think Sally is going into frenzy right now. Is anybody doing anything I should be aware of?
Joanne standing as a human shield in front of James.
So you're going to put yourself between Sally and James. Yeah. Okay.
Do I notice anything?
On 2? Yeah, you notice Sally's going into frenzy and she's going after James. That's 2. 3 and 4 is Rupert is also losing it.
Okay, yeah. I immobilize her.
How do you intend to immobilize Sally?
A lock.
You're just going to try and put her in a lock. Okay? So you move to immobilize Sally. You move to block Sally. Velvet?
I try to figure out where Adam is.
Love it.
If this shit kicks off, I'm
He is
leaving with him.
he is not between you know where he is.
He's not between.
And he is not in he's not in the midst of
In
the
which
action.
case, I will try to move towards Rupert to try and intercede with that
Okay.
situation.
How do you wish to intercede with Rupert? What's your plan? You think he is about to lose it and it's not going to be it's going to be big. You sense it. You can fit a bit of your internal thing recognizes that in him. So I need to know instantly, like you haven't got time to do a lot, so what's Velvet going to do? You can get to him, but what do you want to do? You're going to try and grab Rupert. Excellent. I look forward to the hilarious grappling Ventru action coming up. So, Silas, what are you going to do?
I'm going to probably be with Theodore, just mobilising Sally.
Okay. Are you assisting Theodore, or are you separately grabbing her?
I think I'll move to try and assist.
Okay. I'm going to say... So as you are moving to put Sally in the lock, Silas also comes up with you. And he comes up fast. He comes up like... you're kind of... Almost like you're worried, is he going to hit you? If he just comes in there. Can you make a strength and brawl, but give yourself a 10 for the assist automatically? You are feeling strong and pumped and ready for violence.
Is it red 10?
Can you make a rouse check for me, Silas?
Pass.
Okay. It's not a red 10 though, but you've already got a 10. It's a black 10.
And willpower? No, I just want to make sure that
Yeah, of course.
I got more than 2 successes. 4 successes.
Okay. So, I'll come back to you in a minute. You step between Sally.
Closer to Sally, kind of giving her a this isn't worth it kind of look.
Okay.
But also half attempting to make myself look like I'm putting myself, my minor self before these nobles.
Are you actually assisting this in any sense? No, absolutely.
Not in the slightest.
So the thing that will strike you, Joanne, when you step in front of Sally is that it's like she doesn't see you, she doesn't recognise you. Her eyes are just 2 symbols of rage that go through you to where Sir James is sitting. And the only thing that is stopping her charging through you is Silas and Theodore. We'll come back to how successful they are in a moment. Velvet, you rush across the room to try and stop Rupert. You're going to grab him. So can you make a strength and brawl roll?
Sure.
If it's any consolation,
Yeah.
you are rolling against Rupert.
Not really any consolation.
You can rouse.
Can I rouse?
You can totally rouse.
That's what have I got to do? Roll one.
You just add a black dice to your check and then you rouse afterwards.
Well,
Oh wait, I don't get an additional dice.
Yes, you do.
Yeah.
Oh,
When you rouse, you basically, the blood empowers your action. So you'll get an extra black dice for this action and then you see if you go hungrier or not.
that's
Yeah,
gone.
that one's comfortable.
1. I'll spend some willpower.
Okay.
You don't get any because you've got 2 hunger.
You can't re-roll red dice with willpower because that's
No,
the beast.
I
You can
can-
re-roll black
Are
dice.
you at 1?
Yeah,
One what?
For round.
Oh, hunger,
hunger?
yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that's my accidentally coloured and
Oh, yes.
permanently hunger. Yeah.
Accidentally.
Yeah, remember kids, don't write in ink on your hunger
It doesn't
track.
matter, it's still a fail.
So it's one
One
success.
success.
Yeah, 1 success.
Because
yeah.
he might
Sorry.
have gotten 1 and you're in a
Okay.
And now you make the rouse.
All right, so here's what happens. Sally does not want to be grappled. She is fighting against you and wrestling against you. However, you've held people who are struggling before. This is not new to you. And you've held people who are a lot bigger than Sally. Sally's a lot smaller than you. She's weaker than you. And you prove it. Because between you and Theo, you lock her down. She fights like an animal and hisses, but you have her in place. It is disturbing, by the way, Joanne, to be watching this close up. Meanwhile, Velvet, you have grabbed Rupert. Rupert also, you now realise, does not look like he's going to run away. He looks like he has lost it. However, you've got him. Or is he going to run away? You don't know. He definitely doesn't want to be standing here. That you know. You have grabbed him. You tussle. You tussle like two men who do not fight very often. he has the advantage, perhaps, that he is not fully in control. He's committing to this.
Yep.
Whereas obviously you're a bit more aware of your own frailties. However, his attention isn't really on you. He's not. You're just kind of a thing that's blocking him. But you are holding him for now.
Okay.
So, number of things happen fairly rapidly. Let me go actually first to Velvet though. I'm just making a roll for you. Sorry, out of generosity. You're holding him. You don't know how much longer you can hold him. This is difficult. This is bad. And he's kind of going and making strange. I mean, what the heck is going on here? And then after a few seconds, he's been doing this, and he sounds and he seems to be sort of looking slightly over your shoulder. And it's like all of that oddness in him, it's like it just is sucked out, leeches away, like draining water out of something, and he's not fighting you anymore. He's gone almost limp. I mean, he doesn't fall over, but you feel like there's no resistance in him at all. And you catch a moment where across the room, Sir William is looking at him. Just looking at him. And after a few moments, Rupert makes a very deferential nod. And Sir William gives a very slight nod back.
So I think I can let go of him.
You think you probably can.
I do not.
And Rupert will just say very quietly to you, he says, "Thank you, dear boy." And however, back at Sallysville, Joanne, you hear something behind you. Almost before you see anything, it is a single step of someone in armour, but right by you, out of nowhere. And the other thing you hear at that moment, almost like it's already in motion, is the whoosh of something moving through the air. And you see come past your head a metal ball with spikes in it, attached on a chain to the end of the flail. And it swoops down between Theo and Silas, and it embeds itself in Sally's shoulder. You hear the crack of her collarbone, and you hear it as it buries itself deep into the meat of her shoulder and lodges there. Sally, if you weren't holding her, would have been propelled like off her feet by the force of this blow. And she is obviously stunned. And now, where she wasn't a moment before, Sir Francis is standing there, the flail out in front of her, kind of right next to Joanne, basically forming like a triangle with you two.
Ouch.
Sally does not immediately react. You're not sure. I mean, she kind of makes an odd hissing sound, a little bit like someone had punched a balloon. And then the Scourge pulls her arm back. Are you still holding on to Sally at this point?
Yeah.
You are. Okay. You will both be moved forward a step because the thing is lodged in as Sally comes closer to the Scourge, and the Scourge puts one arm around Sally, like almost like pulling her into an embrace.
I let go.
Yep.
And I,
Scourge got this.
basic stuff. Yet again.
So you step back
Just
into
another afternoon.
That angry part of you is satisfied. You showed her, you taught her a lesson, and now she's going to be taught a bigger lesson, and all is well. And you step back. So as I say, the Scourge pulls her into something of an embrace almost, and then the next second they're gone. You hear a single clank, a single step, and then even that is gone. and everything goes quiet. And then the herald says, "Oh dear, it seems there has been some action after all. Perhaps on a brighter note, it is my pleasure to announce that the trials for the games next year will begin. Those neonates who wish to participate, I would recommend begin training now. For next year, we will be seeing who will represent Oxfordshire in the games. Those of you who feel yourself of sufficient caliber should present yourselves to Sir Holder. And on that note, court is open." And then, after a bit of an ominous quiet, some conversations will kind of begin. Now, Coterie, despite the slightly strange events that have just happened, you have been successful in your first project because you did give a solution that was face-saving until such time as Sir James got involved, and but also stopped there being a duel, and you proved yourselves to be competent in doing so. So those of you who bet points will get them back, and they will be doubled.
Yes!
And those of you who committed resources to this project will get them back.
I have to drive myself in.
So yes, you will now have access to those resources again. So whilst we are in court, is anybody planning on doing anything? It's worth saying, Velvet, that travel sickness analogy is still in play. That this place is still a bit.
Yeah.
But is that yes?
Sir William.
So
I will just low-key stalk him.
Okay, you low key thought.
With the help of Isabel, it's just between the two of us. We'll be eyeing in his general direction until such a time that we feel it's appropriate for me just to approach.
Sure. And that time will come. Isabel will take you there, and she will say, "Sir William, might we have a moment of your time?" He says, yes, I do believe you had spoken about this. I should say, in terms, just so you get a sense of the court, the beginning of court is the knights sit together and do their thing. And then it seems like occasionally there's like a break in business, and then some of them will go and talk to people around and then, go back. So Sir William is not currently sat with the other knights. You and Isabel were with him. And he says, "What can I do for you?"
This will take but a moment of your time. I wanted to invite you to discuss that affair you wish to ask of me. And I thought it would be appropriate also to show you a tradition from where I was in Japan. I hope you have heard of the tea ceremony.
I have heard of it, but I have not participated. Well, as I'm sure you know, we here in Oxfordshire place great stock in traditions, and I would be interested in seeing this one.
I would like to invite you and perform a tea ceremony for you. Of course, I will relate the tradition and then perform it.
Very well. I accept your invitation. Isabel, and then he goes.
Basically, then my people will call your people.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. We'll work out the details. Yeah. Okay. Anyone else intending on doing anything else in this court? I have things that will happen to you. I just want to know if you're planning to do anything before I have things happen to you.
So I was thinking that I would also try to find Sir William, but only so I don't know if the etiquette means I need to have had an introduction to him, or I can't approach him, in which case I won't approach him.
You haven't been. You're trying to work that out, and around the time you're trying to work that out, Wallace will approach.
Okay. Never mind then.
He says, well, seems like you're doing a lot of good deeds at the moment.
I don't know if I call them that. They seem to be helpful in the moment.
Well, when you're in polite company, I'd suggest you do call them that. So they get the right idea about you as a potential citizen of the city. On that note, perhaps we should be seen talking as I make my way over to a couple of friends.
All right. Well, Seth got here all right.
I noticed. He struggles with some of the finer points of day-to-day living, but
I noticed that.
But it seems like that might be a duty you could take on a more regular basis. Seeing as you've done so well this time, saved me a great deal of bother.
Sure.
I appreciate that, Velvet. Let me show you my appreciation. Come with me.
It's not necessary.
Oh, no, I think it is. So he'll take you over, and actually, as luck would have it, to where you will see Sir William and the Herald in conversation with Sir Rafe.
Okay, my thing doesn't matter now. I'm just going to go for that. Yeah.
And he comes over and says, "Oh, is this an appropriate time, gentlemen?" And they sort of gesture for him to join. He says, "I was just concluded my business with Velvet here, but he's just been informing me about the good work he's been doing on behalf of the city."
Absolutely.
It is most pleasant to see. Although it does rather seem that the fledglings are behaving somewhat like Ancilla, and the Ancilla are behaving somewhat like fledglings, does it not?
Well, I'm lucky, sir, that I have had a good tutor in how to behave.
Rafe says, It seems some in this city require further tutelage. And he says, indeed, one never stops learning, especially when they are young.
Well, sir, my coterie have been very effective in this regard. We seem to gel together well, so I can't say as I take all the credit.
So William says, I have noticed the efforts of your group, and I am sure the city also notices. Continue as you have been, and I have no doubt you will make your way into the city, especially after such a fine test of mettle.
Thank you very much, sir. I appreciate that a lot.
So I says, of course, I think they'll all manage well, given they have such good leadership. Ray says, indeed, leadership.
Well, I
it is
try
important.
my best.
He says, as we look to the prince, so too does each clan look to its chief knight. So too does each coterie look to its leader. We have high hopes for you, Velvet.
Well, I'm certain I won't disappoint you.
And there's a nod from everybody. Yeah, of course you won't disappoint them. You wouldn't dream of such a thing.
It's my main focus of attention all the time.
And I says, well, seeing as we have concluded our business, I'll carry on mine with these others, unless you have anything else you...
No, sir.
Well then. Wish you good day.
So he's going.
He will go, and he will be going to talk with Rafe.
Okay.
And the Herald says, well, if you will excuse me, I feel a need to speak with the boonkeeper. Oh, Mr. Riley. Is your coterie mate around?
Which one, sir?
Joanne Olivia Salt.
I believe so, sir. Would you like me to let her know that you'd like to speak to her?
Oh no, it's fine.
Right.
I'd much rather surprise her. It's more pleasant that way.
All right. I understand.
He heads off.
Can I see Joa?
where is Joanne in all of this?
Off to the side.
Okay. After a while,
Barnaby.
yeah, I was gonna say when you're looking around, you do suddenly notice like Barnaby, and he just kind of beckons, and you realise he has found the best place to hide in the room. There aren't many hiding places, by the way. It's all quite open here, but there are lots of banners and standards that are mounted along the walls. Theodore, incidentally, you will recognise the shield symbol is here from the painting.
Do I see the 3 eagles?
Yes. And it does not take a genius to figure out that it is the prince's symbol and heraldry. So, so you find a relatively quiet spot with Barnaby. Neil just say, all right.
This whole justice system's fucked up.
Amen. So, you are... Silas, where are you?
I think I'm going to be probably trying to find Finn to initially ask, what the hell are these games?
Okay, so you're on your way to find Finn. As you're making your way over, you realise that person that was watching you before is watching you again. Are you continuing on to Finn?
Yeah, I'm just trying to get right, being who it is.
You clock them.
Yeah.
It's the same person who's wearing the veil from before. And she seems to be kind of standing towards the wall, like away from the main thoroughfare. She's not like staring at you, like Sally style. She is just like, you know that thing where when you look, she looks down? But she's definitely keeping an eye on you. You're sure of that.
Then I'll make my way towards her.
Okay, so instead of going to Finn, you make your way towards her. Okay. So you cross the room, and as you start to walk towards her and you get closer, there's that moment where she obviously realises you're coming towards her. She starts as if heading off in a different direction to speak to someone else. Are you going to intercept her, or are you going to let her get away? You have a longer... I mean, she's trying to make it look subtle. So if you lengthen your stride, you will easily catch her if you want to. All right. So you arrive at her. She looks up at you.
I don't believe we've had the pleasure. I'm Silas Shaw.
Oh, hey. She lowers her head a bit. I'm Mr. Whispers.
I noticed you look at me. Is there something you wanted?
Oh. I mean, no, yeah, maybe something. She looks around and then reaches into a pocket, pulls out a bit of paper, and hands it over to you.
Take it.
And then she hands you a pen. The paper that she hands you, realise, is not a piece of paper. It is what looks like a photograph from the set of Bernard, Warrior of the Night. And it's one of those backstage kind of shots where you've got some of the cast and the crew like posing together.
Oh, can you give me an autograph? That's so cool.
I will admit this is the last thing that I expected.
Really?
Yes.
But you must have this happen to you all the time.
I'm afraid I don't, and especially in this community. Because
That's a word.
Well, you don't have to if you don't want to. I just
I'll sign.
thank you.
You're welcome.
She takes it with some degree of reverence. She says, if you need anything, let me know.
So, Mr. Whispers, just so I remember the name.
Yes. Yeah. Did you? No, it doesn't matter.
No, please ask.
You know Sally's much older than you. I mean,
Yes.
and you just... I've never seen anyone do that before to her.
Well,
I was really... I'm part of a Coterie as well, and I thought it was really brave how you helped that old man. because he was so hurt at that last time. Sorry, Mitch.exec has just crashed, if anyone's wondering.
We got all of... well, that's nothing, don't worry.
Okay. There is something, actually, if you don't mind, that there's something I'd like. I know it's a big deal. I'd be willing to owe you for it, a boon, I mean.
Okay.
If you can do this, what I really want is a Sharkman head from season 3 that appeared in episodes 20, 22 and 24. It's the one...
So Sharkman head that...
Sharkman head, yes. You know, the one... It's the one that you put the knives into its eyes and then used it to throw it off the edge of the building.
Oh yes, that was a fun stunt to do.
Was that you that did that stunt?
Yes. Yes. Yeah, that was a particularly difficult one actually, if I remember rightly.
Is the mask fake? I mean, as in, is it damaged now, or was it special effects? I just wondered if the mask is going to have holes in the eyes, or whether the eyes are still intact.
I can double check for that.
It has to be that one.
I will see what I can do. I can't promise anything, I'm afraid, but I will see what I can do.
Okay.
Just who are the rest of your coterie? Just because you seem represented with my coterie, just so I'm aware.
Oh, right. So she says, well, she'll point across. She says, "There's Adam, and is what we're like. Oh, so your sire is in a vein for the south, and I'm in one for the north.
So the vegan for the north.
Yeah. And there's Fabrice.
Fabrice.
Yeah. And she looks around. Oh, that's odd. I can't see him. She seems to be searching for someone. And then she says, oh, yeah, and then there's Graham. She'll point him out. So the people that she's pointing at, Adam,
Yep.
I assume you kind of recall. So he's he seems like quite a gentle person. He seems, and again, he's relatively sort of slight of build. And he seems very much not like, he's being very like quiet and low key. And he seems to be in discussion with this person called Graham that was pointed out. Graham looks to be, whereas Adam is a younger man, Graham looks to be probably it appears like he's in his late 40s. And he looks like someone who's very sensibly dressed, kind of shoes that will be safe to wear in if you were going for a nice walk. And he looks, how do I put this? He looks kind of like a very middle-aged dad from a distance is kind of what he looks like. And Fabrice, you can't see him very well, but the main thing that will strike you is there's something weird and wrong about his eyes. Like, they don't seem in the right position on his skull. That's the thing that kind of strikes you. Not like wildly off, but they're off. Something in you goes, what is that? And even from this distance, he's one of the hairiest men you've ever seen. But beyond that, it's hard to say much more. She says, but I could maybe introduce you later. I don't think we're going to stay long because things feel weird today.
Yes, and of course, as the duties of the coach that my coach will be taking over in time, and your coach are the same. Maybe it might be a good idea for both our coaches to meet to exchange pointers. Maybe.
I think it would be good to get on because I probably shouldn't say this, but I feel like I can trust you. Our coterie hasn't always got on with the southern coterie.
It would be best for both the safety.
I agree. I don't like it when, but sometimes, the southern coterie can be very difficult. I mean, confrontational.
I get that sense from Sally.
Oh, yeah. Not just her. But anyway, I doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I shouldn't say too much. But I think it'll be different. Well, at least we can talk.
Yes. Do you have a way of line of communication? Do you have a number, maybe?
I'll do you do email?
Yeah, I do email.
I'll get you an email.
Thank you.
Okay. So you leave, but as you're leaving, you do hear her go, yes!
Make me happy.
So let's see, where were we? Oh, yes. So are you saying anything to Sir William before he goes?
No.
Okay.
I'm going to see if I can find Joanne, but like not obviously. I don't want the Herald to see that I'm finding her.
Okay. It's really, you look around like, where is Joanne? Like, I'm sure she was here a minute ago. And then you begin to look for her. Does anyone else got any other plans in this court? Apart from finding Joanne, obviously, which I'm coming to.
Soap.
You want to find Soap. Soap is easy to spot. She is one of the few non-white people in the room, and of those people, she is the only one who has absolutely no hair and slightly too shiny skin, which in the lights of this place really reflect perfectly. And she is... In fact, when she sees you looking for her, she will break off what she's doing and she'll come over to see you.
How have you been?
I've been okay. I was going to ask you the same question. How have you been?
I'm fine.
You look much better.
I'm sure I do. I did not have a chance to look at myself right at the moment.
Is it always like this? I mean, they told me everything's very calm here, but every time I come, it's like someone gets attacked. I thought that this was supposed to be a place where people didn't get attacked. That's the whole point. I've seen more attacks here than I've seen out there.
Last time was, let's say, us asking for trouble.
Oh,
no one was attacked. We were testing our mettle. I failed, but
I wanted to thank you, by the way, because I was going to step forward as well, because I thought everyone else was stepping forward, and that was what you were supposed to do.
It was.
And I'm really,
optional and voluntary.
I'm really glad. No, I wasn't going to choose to do that. I'm really glad. Thank you.
You're welcome.
It was optional.
It's okay. Tonight, yes, it has been a little bit, but I think it comes from differences that should never have come to the point of a duel. I did not see Sir James' Douglas' reaction coming. I thought just trying to seek harm would be looked kindly.
He's scary. I don't understand why he did that either. It doesn't make any sense to me. I wondered if you knew, because you seem to know what's going on a bit more than I do.
On some level, it makes sense to me. Remember the oath? Thou shalt not bring shame upon
Oh yes, yeah, shame. Yeah, I remember.
So according to Sir Douglas, to Ancilla, to people who are far older than us, were not able to solve their differences on their own. They had to rely on fledglings, who are not even citizens, to intercede on their behalf and try to strike a deal. Find common ground.
Okay. And then what?
It's like a couple of grown-ups being taught a lesson in humility by toddlers.
I suppose when you put it like that, that is quite embarrassing.
I didn't see it coming.
Well, I hope you won't take this the wrong way, but that actually makes me feel a bit better because I didn't see it coming either, and it's nice to know.
Yeah. I think we're both learning.
I don't think we... I know we said hello, but I mean, it was so weird with that. She looks around. That herald. She holds out her hand. Says, I'm Soap.
Yeah, I know so.
She shakes it. But I mean, it's nice to meet you properly.
Yes. Outside that setting, it was too confined.
How are you going with getting people to vouch for you?
I think I'm doing okay. How about you?
Okay. Well, Brick's going to speak for me. Because...
Actually, it's quite convenient. He's your mentor, not your sire.
Yeah, that's what he said.
Not of your bloodline.
Yeah. It's like
quite clever, and
yeah.
I think quite fitting.
I've still got to find someone else, though. I don't suppose you've got any ideas.
I have been told that the main thing here is to prove yourself. Maybe if you prove yourself useful, I could drop your name to perhaps my sire or her sire if they are in need of someone of your skill set, whatever that might be.
Oh.
Someone that you can do a favor for.
Okay.
In exchange.
So it's like work experience. Like I do a job, but instead of getting paid, I get a reference.
Yes, actually.
An experience.
You're exactly looking for that. You're looking for a reference. That's and in just like in a good job in a good company with a high, it's not the same getting a job reference from your supervisor if you are in a small business than getting it from the CEO of a transnational company. So that's why we only need one knight instead of 2 citizens. But you already have Brick. Now, the more the merrier. Some citizens have higher standing than others. So depending on what are you willing to do for them and how helpful you can be, how can you prove yourself useful, they will be willing to vouch for you or point you in the right direction to someone who will.
God, you've given me a lot to think about. I'll So if I can come up with a resume, like a CV of what I can do, and then I tell it to you, you can tell some of these other people, and if they like what's on there, they might give me a job to do or a task or something, and then if they like that, then they'll give me a reference. Yes?
It's not exactly like that, but I like the way you're thinking because it's the underlying principle is there.
Okay.
It is pretty much like that, but in this case, instead of just putting it in writing, I think deeds speak louder than words.
Right.
But I will see what I can do.
It's so lucky you being in a group because you have each other to talk to. I mean, I have Brick, but I don't have anyone, it's not the
not
same.
been put into a coterie of sorts?
No, they just told me that if I want to come in, I have to do all these things that,
Well, let me see if I can do this favor for you, and then maybe in the future you can do the same for me. Or
okay.
Something similar.
Do you want me to talk to Brick and see if he knows anybody that needs something doing? And you could send me your CV, and then we could see.
Just drop my name in Brick's conversation. Probably he has heard of me.
Okay, I can do that.
Now, I might not need help with someone vouching for me. I might actually need help in something much greater than myself.
Okay, that sounds ominous, but okay.
I am trying to do good by the city, regardless of whether or not someone is willing to vouch me for it.
All right. Sure. So you might want a favor, like help with this.
I might need help, so I will try to help you.
Okay.
If you will help me back.
Sure. Yeah. Sounds like a deal.
Excellent.
She'll hold that hand.
And I give her a firm handshake.
Okay.
And
her hand feels weird, by the way, when you shake it.
It feels soapy.
It does feel soapy, but without the like dry soap, but very smooth.
Okay. And I give her sort of like the business phone details, so she can arrange with Miyuki the CD.
She says,
"Speak with my assistant."
Thanks. She pops it in her pocket and heads off. So
have a blessed evening.
Oh yeah, you too. So you will find Joanne.
Okay.
She's with Barnaby. It takes you a while to find them.
Okay.
But when you find them, it's almost obvious. It's like, oh yeah, they're in the most shadowy corner, tucked as far away from all the action as possible.
Where are the Toreador that believe themselves to be Nosferatu?
Yeah. So yeah.
So I can approach.
Yeah, Barnaby is literally in the corner. He could not be he's as pressed, as far away from everything else. And of course, where Joanne is standing, it partially obscures him from...
Where is Anne?
Anne is here, but she doesn't seem to have found Barnaby yet. So...
Okay. Well, I'll wander over and say, hey, how was your evening?
Well, I just watched one of my only friends get vanished.
Yeah, that was pretty strange, right?
Like I said earlier, this system's fucked up.
Right. Well, I came to warn you. The Herald asked me if you were here tonight, so I think he's going to come looking for you. I asked him if he wanted me to deliver a message, and he said no. So you might want to stay in the shadows or go home or something.
I get the feeling if I went home, it would turn out even worse for me.
No. Velvet's right. Let's get out of here.
He can't ask you to do nothing if you ain't here, right?
We've stayed long enough. They won't mind. No one's seen us. If we go quick, we'll be fine.
I'll just tell him I couldn't see you. Or I had it wrong.
Yeah. Appreciate that.
Your bad influences, both.
What? I'm doing you a favour, man.
Barnaby's going to make for the door. Are you going with him?
Nope.
Okay.
Okay.
Barnaby does not try and persuade you to leave. He simply leaves. Fairly, like that, casual. He's out of here.
Guess you don't like the Earl either.
I don't think anyone does here.
It seems alright. I mean, as far as anyone in this room is alright.
Well, I know what he's going to be asking me for, so I think we should just get it over and done with.
Well, you need a hand?
Probably.
What do you want me to come with?
No, it's fine. It's the blood tax. Didn't explain to me what it was, but...
The what tax?
Sounds really grim, doesn't it?
I'm just wondering if... Well, if it's what it seems to be by name, maybe Rupert can help us with it. That's his job, right? Is getting blood, the right kind of thing in the right time. And we just held him out, so maybe we can leverage that. So you find out from the Herald what it is and let me know, because Rupert owes us a favor, at the very least. Probably more than one.
Will do, and I'll keep your secret, don't worry.
What secret? What are you talking about?
You were looking at someone.
What? No, I wasn't.
You've tried lying to me before. You know you can't.
I lie to you a lot, that's true. But it works a lot of the time. So how do you know it's not the case this time?
I don't know who it was, but it was a look that wasn't the same.
Alright, well, go ahead and think what you think. And when the hell he has time for that in this place? We all gotta focus on being accepted into the court, right? Off I go.
And Velvet
Get
leaves
me
you.
out of this interrogation room, please.
So, what are people doing now? We are coming close to time. So, anyone doing anything else I should be aware of? Mingling, chilling out.
Looking to see if I hear someone in need of help with some roughing up or...
So you're hoping to get some kind of task or opportunity or something.
And also I talked to Isabel. I mentioned her like, hey, remember the Nosferatu girl that was presented with us in last?
Oh yes, I do remember. Yes, a most unfortunate case.
Yes, she mentioned her sire abandoning her, but she has a mentor who's willing to vouch for her since it's not of the blood. So if you find yourself in need of someone to do anything for you, really, or if you know someone who could use her talent, I do not know them, and I think it's a little quaint but quite endearing that she wants to put a sort of a curriculum vitae of her abilities. Don't worry, I have directed her. It is very sweet. I have directed her towards Miyuki, so she's not passing around a sheet of paper.
I think that is wise. I know very little about her, and I know very little about her mentor, which, in a sense, concerns me. Because, of course, we tend to all know each other very well. But they are somewhat outside of the normal circles, and so people do not have a lot of contact with them.
Perhaps I could arrange a meeting for you to have a conversation, get to know her a little better.
I feel that's a little premature.
Oh no.
Given that she is,
up to you,
shall we say, not proven herself yet.
Yeah, she's looking to prove herself. If I see anything on her CV that might strike your fancy, of course I will.
Yes. If she should prove herself, then perhaps we will reconsider.
I just want to find these two.
Yeah.
Walking around, probably around with Isabel. If Sir Enolf at any point is alone or pensive looking at the wall, I will stand next to him so he can look at the wall without anybody else bothering him.
So
it's basically just...
If you're with your side, then I won't approach you.
Well, I'm going to be walking around like ping-pong.
He's mingling.
He's mingling. What are you doing?
No,
you were looking around.
Yeah, you'll probably be able to catch me.
Are you trying to find Finn now?
I would be trying. I would be trying to find.
I mean, my thing was just to thank them for holding on to Sally. So it doesn't need to be a long thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you thank them for holding on to Sally, and
I'll mention that that I have some that we should discuss as a coterie later. Information that I picked up, but later.
All right.
Let's focus on the court now.
Yeah, I think the court shall be uneventful for the rest of us.
So you kind of waiting out the court in the hope that it will end.
I'll try and find Seth and make sure he's not causing trouble.
Okay. Yeah. And so the court will be kind of coming, it feels like to a close, like some people have left, although not everyone has left. But it does look like the prince is making preparations. You'll see those guys coming back in, so that people can stay, but the kind of the official business is kind of over. When Joanne, you will hear, at last.
To what do I owe the pleasure of this visit?
He says, well. And that's where we're going to stop. So, although we run a tiny bit late, yeah, it's the new tradition for the streamers. Every week we end with you, and someone will be like, So, we mentioned a new rule just for those who like rules, like me. The new rule is that when a kindred goes into frenzy, they get additional physical dice equal to their bane severity.
Ooh.
So for a neonate or a young vampire, they get an extra 1 die to all physical rolls. But obviously, if they are some kind of ancient monstrosity, they will get an extra 3, 4, or even 5 dice to all of their physical rolls. If their bane severity is high enough. And that rule was in play tonight as well. But luckily, most of the people frenzying were not physical characters, and so it just made them strong rather than monstrous. So big thanks to Mitch for all of his hard work that he does.
Mitch Appreciation Week.
And for putting up with me consistently failing to judge what I'll fit in a session. And big thanks to the players for being fabulous as always, and to you for watching. Much appreciated.
Storyteller, thank you very much.
And hopefully we will see you all next week. Take care. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for watching this episode of Blood on the Tamesis. If you'd like to keep up with all of our latest news, please follow us on Twitter and Facebook. And remember, if you want to join us live, we're here every Monday at 7 p.m. Not quite on the dot, but close enough. The YouTube channel is usually up by Wednesday, and the podcast will also be up too. And a big thank you to all of our supporters on Patreon and all of you beautiful disaster ghouls. And we'll see you around.